Yes, hello. And for the 500th time, I am James Rowland, and today it's the WNR500. I am not alone. Of a pleasure to be joined by the entire WNR team. But before I introduce them, we wouldn't have gotten to 500 episodes if it wasn't for our listeners. So we just like to take time out to thank everybody who's either followed us, liked, subscribed, and whatever across social media. For 500 episodes. It is incredible that people still listen after all this time, for nearly 10 years sticking with the podcast. Not only that, but I couldn't do it by myself. Of course, all the people that have co-hosted on the show, where it will be Dwayne, Jared, Jamie, Francis White, Graps of Ras, Select Match Pod, Henry from Chokeslam, or even our latest, Shay. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention the man who did over 300 shows. And that is... Daniel was traveling tonight on a plane. I can see the red tail lights headed for Spain. And I can see Daniel waving goodbye. Oh, it looks like Daniel must be the clouds in my eyes. So I'm getting emotional as I sing it. But I got lucky, you see. And the next three people changed the WNR podcast and made it such a better place. But as for me, don't worry, because I'm still standing, better than I ever did. Looking like a true survivor, feeling like a little kid. But anyway, up first by my side for every WWE and AEW show, it is, of course, actually, I remember the very first thing she said to me, and it showed exactly the type of person that I would be dealing with. She said, the path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the inequalities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is she who, in the name of charity and goodwill, shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness, for he is truly his sister's keeper and the finder of lost children. And she will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my sisters. For you will know my name as the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee. It is the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. How's it going, Jaxie? We're on 500.
I absolutely do not remember saying any of that. But yay, happy 500.
Word for word?
I mean, sounds a bit far-fetched for me. Maybe I had drank a bottle of wine and just, spaced. I'm not too sure on that
honestly, one. It sums you up perfectly, I think,
Hell of an intro.
Yeah, of course, definitely, So, yeah, welcome to me.
Yeah.
As you can tell from my voice, I slightly have the flu, so please do bear with me if you hear me go on mute to suddenly have to cough.
What about to say, can you believe we got to 500? Of course, your first episode was 30th September 2020. Of course, I can just remember that off the top of my head. It's a WNR310. So that means in 10 episodes, Jackson, you've done 200 on the podcast. You see, I mean, when did that time go?
I know. It seems to have just flown by, especially with, everything that we've managed to progress with the pod and sort of like in person. So, yeah, it's been growing, and it's great to see that we finally managed to make it here. What a milestone.
I know we called each other cunts and all this lot, but Jaxie, honestly, it's been a pleasure for doing it with you for nearly 200. And like I said, what we have with each other is brutal honesty that everybody should have in life with someone,
Mm-hmm. I mean, again, a lot of people may kind of not like that word, and I apologize for a lot of people that possibly don't. But it's not always a word that's used in hatred or anything like that, but just two friends that really do enjoy discussing, great content and just kind of having a good time together. So I feel the same, and likewise, James. It's been an absolute pleasure kind of running things and co-hosting with you on WNR, and I look forward to the next year of wrestling to come and what we've got in store.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. I said wrestling has never been bigger or better, and it is down to all of us. I'm not going to lie. But up next, our resident NXT expert and New Japan deity. And, well, Monty, let's face the facts about me and you. It's a love unspecified. I mean, there's nothing gay about it in my eyes. You know, there's no need to clarify. Let's let it grow more and more each day. It's like I've married my best friend, but in a totally manly way. I'll be there to care through all the lows. I'll be there to share the highs. I've got to admit, it's guy love between two guys. It is. Monty, how's it going, man? I'm sorry. I've had to come out and admit that.
You know, as sweet as all of that was, it was very, very sweet. And you know what the sweetest part about that is? You did me a favor. After the horrible singing you exemplified to start this show, it was bad. It was like I need to take my headphone out for that one. Like that's how bad it was. It was like, oh my goodness, he was going for it. Never try to hit any notes of any pitch whatsoever. By the way, James, please just don't. But yes, you didn't even sing this song. You read it. You know, you talked to me. That's a much better way to deliver this message. Which I'm just gonna ignore completely the message behind your song. But I do love
worse.
you, brother, and I'm thankful to be here. So.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
I cut the bit out about Chocolate Bear, all right? I'm not going to lie.
I
thought we weren't there yet.
Please, don't go there. Don't go all the way there.
And I got to tell you,
please.
I got to admit, the singing was so bad, Elton John's rolling in his grave, and he's not even dead yet.
Not even there. Yeah, he's twisting on the outside. He's, you just, man. I just hope I don't hear anything unfortunate about Elton John after that one. Like, oh my goodness.
We've only got a few songs left, boys and girls. We knew it was going to be music. Come on now. Like, who's listening to this show?
No.
Do you know what I mean? Who's listening
as
to
it
this?
should be. As it should be. 500 episodes. Come on, man. Like you said, 10 years to hold anyone's attention for that long, especially when you're talking about wrestling or anything. It don't really matter what you're talking about, but really when you think about what wrestling has been the entire decade, it was some slow periods, man. You started this podcast, in my opinion, during a time that I probably wouldn't want to be talking about wrestling all the time. So think about everything you've seen just on this show. Like, they can use this show as a, just go back in time for a decade and just see all the stuff that WWE on the network or what just at the product and turning into AEW, into New Japan, into your love for Impact. And just your love for pro wrestling in general. It's been an honor this whole time to watch how hard you working to see what this show. We put a lot of work into it, guys. It's a lot of fun, but it's also a lot of work. And somebody who has over 100 episodes of his own pod, and I'm way far away from you, and I'm just like, wow. But like people don't understand. They just think you can just grab a mic and just talk. The dedication it takes, and what all it takes to just continuously keep going, keep wanting to do this stuff. Like I said, my hats go off to you, man. You're a big influence on what I like doing too. So this is fun. I have to give you your flowers for making it this far.
No, man, that's the nicest anybody's ever been to me. So I'm just gonna clip that and listen to it.
Yeah, save it for the rest of your life.
For the next insults, it'll be fine. But like I said, Monty, you've been here since 311, the WNR 311 Takeover 31. So we've been watching NXT together since the 5th of October 2020. And again, like I said, it's been some rough patches.
Read that card off and tell me how different it is. Now I bet too. Oh man, yeah, we've seen some stuff, man. We've seen some stuff. NXT 2.0 was born and died in this incarnation of So this is, like you said, man. It's insane when you think about it, just how much and just how, and even me, like you said, just who we are as people. 3 years ago, I was still in school, in graduate school, and I wasn't yet married. Now I'm married, I have a child, and you guys have been here, kind of, in the peer review across the lake, watching me grow. So it's been cool.
Yeah, without a shadow of doubt. But last, but by no means least, we save the best to last. I call when I need you. My heart's on fire. You come to me wild and wilder. When you come to me, give me everything I need. G, I'm going to sing now, Monty. Close your ears. You're simply the best. Yeah, everybody. Better than all the rest. Better than anyone. Woo! Anyone I've ever met. Oh, I nailed that. Yeah, I'm stuck on your heart. Yeah. Hang on every word you say. Tear us apart, baby. Monty would rather be dead. It is, and I'm going to admit now, it's my favourite. It's Gina. How's it going? You're simply the best.
Oh, that was lovely, James. I loved it. Happy 500. That was great.
Well, this is a crazy thing, Gina. Some people may even class you as new, but your first episode was 392. So you have done over episodes on the podcast now. So, I mean, fair play to you for sticking for so long.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it doesn't even feel like that long, to be honest. I still feel like a newbie for some reason. I don't know, but either way, I'm still happy to be here, and I'm excited to be on the 500th episode with you all.
Well, Shadow, like I said, I'm sorry it took so long to get into the intro, but, it is the 500th. We had to do something. And, of course, on today's show, we've got the 37th Survivor Series. Incredibly, the 9th Survivor Series on this podcast. But it's 500, so I want to play some games and have some news and all that kind of good shit. And we talked about all of our first episodes. Now, Jaxie, I'll ask you first. Do you want to hear what you sound like the very first episode? And I'm going to play it anyway, so make your mind.
Absolutely not, but you're going to anyway. So, yay me.
Yeah. It's great. I'm having fun. This is everybody. This is Jaxie's very first episode. WNR500. I did my intro anyway.
Hello, I am James Rowlands, and today it's the WNR310. It's the Clash of Champions 2020. And I'm delighted to say that I'm joined by a very special guest co-host at Jaxie Scarlett. How you doing?
Hi there. Good, thanks. And you?
Yeah, all good, all good. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. Really looking forward to Clash. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, well, thank you for having me on the show. I'm at Jaxie Scarlett, and I'm a co-host for O-Face Wrestling Podcast, and that's at O-Face Wrestling as well, in case you guys want to check us out.
Yeah, and of course, check them out. They do some great content there. What was your excitement levels leading into this event before we actually talk about anything? Were you excited? Because I think the pay-per-view came along so soon, it seemed like there wasn't a lot of build.
I think personally, I was less excited, more anxious, because I mean, shortly before the pay-per-view started, we'd heard of certain rumors of matches being cancelled. So we didn't get to hear much on which ones were cancelled really until last minute. So it was more kind of nervous, really.
That wasn't too bad, was it? I mean, it's the politest you and I have ever been to each other since then, I suppose.
I didn't know I could be that polite. Honestly. So
Yeah.
you had me on a good day there.
You were on your best
in,
behavior.
I sounded in a very good mood. So, I mean, that's something.
Yeah, without a doubt. So we'll move on then, because we don't want anybody else's clips, do we? I mean, Jaxie's was enough, surely. That's no. To be fair, Monty.
Why will go through this? No.
Monty's next.
Yeah, only put her through it so it can be
no.
like
This
shadow bullying or something.
Monty,
No, Monty. No.
Monty, you mentioned this.
Should all be so privileged to this.
The change in Monty in these 3 years is incredible. This is this is a different guy. This literally is a different guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, hello, I am James Rowlands, and today it's a WNR 311, and it's NXT TakeOver 31. And it's a pleasure to say that I'm joined by the mind of Monty. How you doing, mate? You all right?
All right, how you doing? It's your boy Muncie G from the Mind of Muncie podcast. I'm happy to be here. Happy to join you here today. Well,
That's fa-
tonight for you guys.
well, without a shadow of a doubt, it's always great. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and about your podcast?
So right now, currently, I'm 24 years old. I'm a grad student at Arkansas State University in America, and in Arkansas. I'm a grad student and I do radio and television. My podcast is strictly wrestling based, just commentary, comments on the show. Right now we're doing strictly reviews, but I have a couple of ideas to switch it up and add new things like going to YouTube and doing different types of things. But it's just right now it's just a grad student who has extra time who needs to vent about the stuff that he likes to watch. And, I love wrestling. Been watching it since I was a little kid, so I think I have an extensive knowledge, not to toot my own horn, but I've watched a lot of wrestling over the years. And I just enjoy it. Uh, yeah, that's pretty much what it's about. It's just me and my fiance who hosts it with me, and she kind of intros and does the gives her commentary when she sees fit. And but yeah, we just have fun and talk wrestling.
Well, that's brilliant, and it's great.
Oh, Monty, I've ruined you, man. Think how happy you were back then.
Right? Sound like a fetus too. Looking back, like who is this kid? Oh my god. I had an entire stick and everything I was trying to get over to at the time. I was just it's funny you say you ruined me, but I look back at that kid and I'm just like, man, he was trying so hard when he didn't realize he didn't.
Can
He
I
didn't
just
have
say,
to.
I'm glad you don't now say, yo, it's Monty G. So
Yeah, yeah. It's your boy Muncie G. Yeah,
uh,
no, I think that was part of me becoming more natural, and I think that's what that. I just cringed very, very hard though. So thank you for that, Jay.
hey,
Thanks a lot.
hey, don't, guys, again, don't worry, because after Gina, we are going to listen to the first episode ever of the WNR. So we know how bad that's going to
Oh
be.
no.
Yeah.
Oh, this is going to be
No,
interesting.
please don't do
Bring it on.
me.
Gina,
Don't.
I am. I'm
No,
sorry. Gina.
no.
It's only a little clip, and Monty's in it as well. So again, Monty can hear what he sounded like 8 episodes later. This is like time travel shit, right?
You're torturing me, James. I thought this was meant to be a fun 500
We're
episode.
Supposed
celebrating,
to be
everybody.
celebrating.
Celebrating. Here's Gina.
I'm excited. Let's do this, man. We're back live.
Hello, everyone. Happy Full Gear night. I'm super excited to be here and super excited at the special guest we have.
Got a very special guest, and last but by no means least, our special guest is Purple Rain, aka Gina. How you doing?
Hello, thank you for having me on the show. I'm
Well-
super excited to join you all.
Well, it's fantastic to have you on the course. I was just going to say it's great to have you, but what is your connection to the WNR?
So my connection is my twin sister is Jaxie Scarlett.
Oh, dun dun dun! So it's finally happened. We're raised twins on the show. Can I just say how happy I am to have you, obviously both on, but Gina, of course, this is your first time. So, kind of, what wrestling are you into?
So I was into WWE, but I won't lie, I have kind of refrained from watching that recently. I'm more of an AEW girl now. AEW is like my baby.
Oh, I'm glad I was doing AEW tonight.
God, I sound like a twat as well. But Gina, that's not too bad. Come on, weren't too bad.
No, I cringed throughout it all. I just cringed. I hate it. I hate my voice.
We all start.
Yeah, but do you know what? That you said you're more an AEW fan than a WWE, but I feel like that outlook has definitely changed. I think there's definitely been more of an interest from your side of WWE now as well. So it's nice to hear growth.
Yeah, definitely.
And like I said, we all put on a slight, maybe posher accent, apart from Monty, of course, when we do the pod. So I'm just telling everybody that now. Right, I've been doing
My
this for
accent
so
get
long.
worse.
Yeah. When I started this pod, it wasn't in 1920s. All right, I promise you, this wasn't on radio originally.
You
sure? Again, it doesn't sound like it, but I can promise this is still only like 8 years ago. I'm only going to play a little bit as well, but here we go.
Hello and welcome to the WWE Network Review, a brand new podcast. Thanks for downloading. It reviews the WWE Network and see if it offers value for money. My name is James Rowlands and I'm joined by my two friends, Dan White and Dwayne.
My name? Dwayne.
I thought you said The Rock.
Dwayne. My name is Dwayne The Rock. That's my surname.
Oh yeah, Dwayne Johnson.
Spelled the same way as well.
What, Johnson?
Yeah. He knows a lot about Johnson's.
I've heard that.
Happy birthday to Dwayne as well.
Oh yeah, Dwayne, you're 14.
29 today.
29 today. I'm a lifelong wrestling fan and I try to watch as much wrestling related shows as possible. Now Dan, you watch all the pay-per-views and you catch results from Raw, and Dwayne, you don't really know WWE but you know the basics. Yeah. Now we're going to try to prove to each other that the WWE Network is worth the $9.99 a month, worth our subscription, try and get Dwayne to subscribe. But then again, you could convince us to cancel our subscriptions if the programs are bad enough. So we're going to wide range of programs, basically, not just pay-per-views. We're going to do NXT, DVDs, stuff on even little things like YouTube and that, or basically just chat about the WWE Network. You don't need the WWE Network to listen to the podcast. Dan, I'm really good friends with you, and Dwayne, tell me more about yourself.
Fuck that. My editing was on point, wasn't it, boys and girls? Fuck.
Oh my goodness.
What the fuck?
You actually sound young.
Right.
I actually thought you had paid somebody to do that.
You know what, James? Honestly, when I heard how young you sounded, do you know what? It sounded like you didn't have a beard yet.
Definitely.
I didn't. You're right. You are right.
Right? Well, I don't know why, but it just suddenly occurred to me. It felt like James was recording this and he did not have a beard at the time. I knew I was right.
Wow.
I was clean shave. Oh my God. How did that last, hey? And like you said, anybody listening to that and thinking it's the same show, like, again, not to harp on, but you can't be. We've had to, I say we as like the WNR podcast, has had to adapt and change with the times, like an Undertaker or a character like that. You couldn't do that now. Oh, Jesus. That is, yeah, man. That's funny. See?
Yeah, that very same intro now, people like immediately tossing headphones, baby. But yeah, you have to evolve. But that's crazy. I have nothing else to say other than that is the youngest you've ever sounded. This show has aged the hell out of you, James, just in the voice.
Oh, it really is. It really, really is. My God, that was fun. So yeah, they're all our first, basically. So we got the 500, and we are here now. But I do want to play games, but I don't know if this is a difficult game or not, because I want to play initials, right? And again, everybody can play, even people listening at home if you want. I want to give initials, and then I want to see if you can come up with wrestlers' names. Does that make sense to everybody?
No. What?
Right, so...
Repeat.
Right, so the initials... So if I gave the initials B and L, then I would want wrestlers' names starting with B and L, yeah? But the initials have to be BL. Understand?
Like first and last name, or like
first
any.
and last name. First and last name.
Okay.
So we'll start
I
with.
don't
We
know.
won't start with BL. We'll start with an easier one, which is RR. So any wrestlers with RR as their initials.
Robert Roode.
So Robert Roode,
Ricky
exactly
Romero.
perfect. Robert Roode.
Is it Ricky Romero? That's me.
There you
On
go.
a
Rocky
on a
Romero.
Rocky Romero.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the second one. Yeah.
Come on, it's an
Pass.
easy one. Come on.
Razor Ramon, or was that just that?
Yeah.
There you
No,
go.
Razor
That's
Ramon.
good.
Yeah.
I can't believe one of you not gonna see.
Pass.
Hey.
You want me to say it?
Pass.
Oh, you're passing.
Wait. Ronda Rousey.
Ronda Rousey's on there. Yep.
That's not the first I'm thinking. God.
Yeah, there's another couple of women as well. Another couple of women.
There's
and,
yeah,
and
there's
a
a
really
couple
basic
women.
one.
Ruby Riot when she was Ruby Riot.
Yeah, well, you can take that, but it's still another couple of women. Right, think champions. Think champions.
Rhea Ripley.
There you go.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh my God.
what?
It's-
Wait, Monty
So
White.
big.
Oh my God.
Monty,
Roman
why don't you just-
Reigns.
Roman
first of all.
Reigns,
Roman
yeah.
Reigns. Let's get Roman
I'm
out of the way.
sorry, I only actually know him really as my tribal chief or Daddy Ray.
Yeah.
Forgive
So
me.
he would have
That's
God.
all
me.
I think of
I would say
Roman.
it for TC or BG, like BG, like Big Daddy.
Yeah.
Oh my God. All right.
All right, we got any more names? We've got two more on this list.
Rockin'
No.
Robin.
To them.
What did you say, Monty?
Rockin' Robin.
There's a women's wrestler, quite a big woman on the roster.
Right now?
Yeah, right now. She used to team with Liv Morgan, if I give you hints.
Raquel Rodriguez Rongoles.
Yeah,
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez. Yeah.
See, I'm still calling her old last name.
Gonzalez, you
So I
went
forgot
with,
about
sir.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I forgot about that. There
And
you go.
the last one's quite a deep cut, but is a guy who's no longer with us, but was huge, and one of the few people that was member of NWO and DX.
Rick Rude?
Rick Rude is
Bobby's
yeah.
namesake, I believe.
Yeah.
Right, so that's all right, isn't it? You know, that wasn't too bad.
No, not bad.
No, it wasn't.
Right, we're going to try
We
another
need
No,
one.
it
better
was okay.
communication. I forgot they do say Daddy Reigns instead of Roman. Come on, man.
Yeah,
So,
exactly, Monty.
It's a
Forgive
dangling
us
carrot.
for not automatically thinking it.
right, so next one, SM. Any wrestlers SM?
Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels,
M for mother.
M, yes. Yes. S for sausage, M for mother. So we've got Shawn Michaels.
Shane McMahon.
Shane McMahon. That opens the door.
Stephanie McMahon.
Stephanie McMahon.
Yeah.
Any more? Used to
Gotta
manage
be,
Shawn
right?
Michaels. Used to manage Shawn Michaels.
Sherry Martel.
Sherry Martel.
Yeah.
One of the shittest wrestlers of all time, Monty.
Whoa.
In WCW. American football player.
Oh, Steve McMichael.
Steve McMichael.
Come on, man.
And last on the list, used to have a Cobra.
Oh, Santino Marella.
Santina Marella. That's,
Yeah.
oh my God.
I was like, Coco Beware had a bird. So random.
Right, next one. R for Roger, S for sausage.
R.S.
Gina, I'm looking at you. RS.
Randy Savage.
There you go.
Savage and Ricky
And
Starr.
Gina.
there you go.
Gina.
Does Ricky Steamboat count?
Yes.
Huh?
Gina.
Yeah.
Come on. Gina,
She already
come
said
on,
Ricky
Gina.
Get that. Give me a second.
Don't put me on the spot, James.
Who's your favourite fucking wrestler?
I said Ricky Starks already.
Good,
That was the
good,
second name she said.
good. I'm glad.
Yeah,
Sorry, I
she
was
did.
got angry. I got angry. Sorry, I only heard Ricky Steamboat. Sorry, I calmed down a little bit. We've all
My
had
brain
drinks,
melt.
all right? And we got Ruby Soho was on there as well.
Yeah.
I'm finished thinking. You just gave that away, and I'm mad at you because I would have got that because I got prior. So I would have got there. Give me give us warning before you're gonna give it away.
Okay,
Ron
we'll move on.
Simmons.
We'll move. Yeah, Ron Simmons again. We're moving on. That has not worked as well. Right, BL. B for big, L for little.
Big E Langston.
I've actually already clever.
What?
Brody Lee.
Brody Lee.
There you go, Brody Lee. I cannot think of nobody.
There's literally like there's three of the biggest wrestlers in the world, I'll probably say.
BL? BL.
A guy who's been champion at multiple WrestleManias.
Oh, Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar, yeah.
That does make you feel stupid not thinking about him.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Remember, we're going to be thinking of relevant people like today, James.
All right. This other one just main event the last pay-per-view. How relevant you
How about that?
No, she was in the opening match, didn't main event, but she has main evented WrestleManias before.
Becky Lynch. I'm stupid. I was gonna say Bailey.
Is there any more, or have we got all of them?
Well, I didn't want to say we'd move on just in case Jaxie had to go at me, but
wait, Bobby Lashley.
Bobby Lashley is the yes.
There
Bobby
you go,
Lashley is
Bob.
Yeah.
That's the three, right? That's the three that you were talking about.
Of course.
That is
again, though, it took me a while to get to Bobby Lashley because, again, he's known as Daddy Lashley too. I'm just saying.
Oh my God.
If it was wrestlers beginning with D, then we're home and dry, aren't we?
Oh yeah. Oh,
Daddy
my
Reigns,
goodness.
Daddy Lashley, Daddy
Daddy
McIntyre.
Daddy Pace.
Yeah.
Daddy McIntyre.
Daddy Orton
okay.
now. We got Daddy Orton.
Wait.
Everybody's
Daddy Drew.
Why did
Drew
we get
Big
this
Daddy.
Daddy McIntyre? No,
Oh,
no.
You know
Drew.
what Big
Come on.
Daddy McIntyre.
Even
Go
Brandy has
Big Daddy McIntyre. That's
claimed
what we want.
Even Randy has just claimed the name Daddy. I highly doubt that Drew was up there with the other daddies.
He was at least Big D. We do know that.
Yeah, he has
Big
got
D.
a big D. I've seen him
McIntyre.
wrestle very closely. Right,
Wow.
so
Wow.
it's a 500th. Come on.
Wow.
Who knows?
Come on, man.
Anyway, last one, guys.
What is wrong with
AC.
you?
AC. So A for Apple, C for cunt.
Adam
Cole, baby.
Adam Cole, baby.
Give me a second.
No.
Okay.
I got this. Hold on.
Should I give you a clue?
No, don't you dare.
All right.
This is tough.
Well,
Off the top of
Monty,
your head.
you should get two because they're both in NXT. One still is.
I was afraid you was gonna say something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe a small clue.
All right. So we haven't got all day. So maybe just get this on this day.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, Adam Copeland count?
Adam Copeland. Yeah.
I'm not used to that. That's hard. I'm always telling you.
Oh yeah.
Adam
Okay. Yeah.
Copeland. Who the hell is who's in NXT? AC.
Well, it's
Who am I
usually
tripping?
probably be known as CU a little bit more. As the group.
How did I miss that? Oh, okay. Andre Chase.
You
Why
know,
did I
your
want to say
boy
his
from
first
NXT.
name?
Yeah, it's like
I forgot his name was Andre. I'm calling him Mr. Chase like everybody else.
Apollo Crews. He said that. Well done.
Hey,
Hey.
nice.
Yeah.
He never gets thought of.
He's listening to this. Go. Thanks, guys. Thanks.
Someone thought of me. Finally.
We'll never forget, Polly. Never forget.
And just as the last one, it's no initials, but I was thinking wrestlers with colours in their name. There must be loads, but I could only think of 3.
Okay.
They're all AEW.
Yeah.
Red Velvet.
Red Velvet, Sky Blue.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Um.
Who else got a color?
The bigger one.
But can we count?
A faction like House of Black.
You take them if you want. But
Sure.
I'm sure there's got to be like, you know. That's what I was thinking myself. There's got to be more.
Gotta be, right? Yeah.
Scarlett, who comes out with
Oh, that's a nice one. Yeah, Scarlet. Yeah. Like
yeah.
Oh.
So the big one in AEW with the colour
Orange
name
Cassidy.
is Orange
It's
Cassidy.
literally-
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm.
So I was wondering about that. But I thought that was a good game, and I might come up with more. But man, I mean, I've put you all on the spot there. That took me days.
Amazing Red.
That took me days.
Amazing Red. I just thought of Amazing
Red. That's a good one. There we
Impact gets no love.
go. Do you know what? With my SM, I had Steve Macklin. I thought no one's going to know that. No, no one's going to know Steve.
That's a good point, Steve Macklin.
There was a few, like BL had Buddy Landell, and I thought that is not working.
What an elderly reference.
Hey, you heard how young I used to be.
Yeah.
But it always reminds me of that. I mean, what was it, Lyle Crocodile, when they talk about how you started off pretty small, but, you know, take a look at Snell. Just with, like, small changes as well to get to this point. And I don't do enough. I love doing games and stuff like that, you know, because it is fun. But we have, unfortunately, got some wrestling to catch up on.
Let's do it.
So, well, we got Raw and SmackDown first. Raw on November 6th. Seth Rollins making his way to the ring. He thanked Drew McIntyre for not allowing the Judgment Day to think of a fair match. Sami Zayn showed up. Rollins thanked him, getting in the way of Damien Priest and preventing him from cashing in Money in the Bank briefcase, of course, at Crown Jewel. Zayn opted to take the World Heavyweight title shot in the main event, coming up short. We get The Miz versus Bronson Reed versus Ivar versus Ricochet, with 4 men fought for a shot of Gunther's Intercontinental title. It was a Miz that won. Creeds beat DIY. Told you, Monty, DIY's run is over, man. They're done. We had a battle royal.
Did it even begin?
Sorry?
Did DIY's run even begin?
Well,
That's how it feels.
Getting jobbed out, didn't they? Like, you know, if it's not, I mean, let alone single competition. If one of them is single competition, it's done. You know, they ain't winning. But it's interesting to see what happens. We had a battle royal for the number one contendership, which was won by, of course, Zoe Stark. Seth retained against Zayn, as we mentioned, with the Judgment Day attacking Zayn as he was leaving the ring. Adam Pearce had a meltdown and booked War Games, the Judgment Day versus Zayn, Uso, Rollins, and Rhodes. SmackDown November 10th, KO was on commentary. Bobby Lashley beat Carlito. After the match, Lashley and the Street Profits attacked Carlito. The Master 619 had to make the save, as Esparza did not try to help him. Mysterio and Esparza brawled with a former Legado step at all. Monty, this is Santos's time to shine now. This heel turn, I know we could talk about Survivor Series and stuff like this, but we know how good he was in Legado. This is his comfort zone, you know?
Yeah, I think this is gonna be as good as his face run, or at least as good as his initial introduction on the main roster seemed to be, in the association with his lucha libre heritage and the LWO. All of that stuff was cool, but I think me and you both kind of knew that, and maybe this is what it was. Now, I'm not gonna say that he got given the best thing as a best things to do, or at least the most interesting things to do as a babyface. But I do believe that this story of him turning on Ray has been long in the running. I was always expecting it to turn, but I figured if it happened too soon, connect to when he was going through his stuff with Dominic, then it'd just be, a little bit lazy. But I think me and you both kind of know that this is Santos. Like you said, this is Element. He's a great character. He's awesome at being a bad guy. And the most shocking thing to me, I guess, being an NXT guy, is kind of seeing Del Toro and Phoenix not agree with him. But it was still awesome, an awesome moment, and I just love the way it all took place. I thought that. I mean, it's nice to see that. I don't know if the camera caught it originally, the brass knucks. I don't know if the camera caught that on purpose originally. If they didn't, they audibled and they did a great turn here. If so, if it was as obvious as it all felt, then I thought this was just really well done. And I think me and you, like you said, we've seen it in NXT, and I think now it's time for the grander audience to get a chance to see how good he can be, and also he get a chance to be his own mouthpiece again, which is another thing that really helped him down in NXT. He's a wonderful talker, so I'm hoping that now as a heel he's able to do that more. So I can't wait to see what happens next with him. But yeah, I'm with you, man. That's the one thing that kind of made this exciting, other than the fact that this is like the 100th time someone has turned on Rey Mysterio.
Ray's a prick, all right? Like,
yeah, it's like we said, something's going on. You're 100% on the money. Like, we all love Ray, but yeah.
Well,
he's a dude.
Kari saying forgave Bailey, setting up a 6-woman tag match for later. We got onto that in a second. LA Knight beat Grayson Waller in the main event. Great, my microphone's gone. 500 show. Jaxie, help me out here. Oscar turning on. Oh, it's back. Jaxie, Oscar turning on her teammates. Hopefully that's the last time that ever happens. And joining Damage Control. Jaxie, you've been a huge fan of Oscar. Is this the right direction for her?
Oh, definitely. I was kind of waiting for this to happen the minute we saw Kyrie turn up, This was inevitable. Just before Kyrie left, I think the hottest thing that had come to the titles in a long time for the women's tag titles was the Kabuki Warriors. So obviously it was a real shame when Kyrie did kind of leave WWE for a bit, with good reasons, but I'm so pleased to see her back. This did kind of give way for that question of, will Asuka be joining them? And I think this is absolutely the right decision to go for them. At this point, there are a lot of women that WWE have done well with, that are viable to be gunning for both women's titles right now. But that doesn't mean that like every single independent woman fighter, female wrestler, needs to necessarily be going for that right now. And just to kind of see like them kind of create this faction within a faction itself, it just opens up so many more questions as what's to come for both Damage Control and sort of Asuka and Kyrie. It leaves a question of will they be coming for those titles soon, and then gives you more questions into sort of Chelsea Green and Piper Niven and where they come into this. So it just kind of opens up a lot more exciting potential storylines for so many other of the women on the roster at the moment,
Yeah, well, I can't remember the last time we had like a dominant women's group. And like I said, there's no better with Oscar joining with EO. And of course, Kyrie with a history.
We've had Damage Control for quite a while now, and they have been taking significant L's that has been leaving us to question. I think we very rightly so have questioned on this pod previously. Where does Damage Control go from here? What direction do they take? They're taking so many L's. Do they split up? Do they, kind of go off on their own thing, or, you know, how can they make themselves stronger? This is exactly how they make themselves stronger. So, you know, there's excellent storytelling here, and it's nice to see that it's, you know, a lot of creative effort being put into this faction and into the story behind this faction, just as much as they have done so with the bloodline and the story that kind of went into them, that is still going into them, you know?
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, bang on there. Raw November 13th, Drew graciously shook Rollins' hand, and Drew said he will get his rematch. Jordan Devlin became a full-time member of Judgment Day. Finn Balor and Damien Priest versus Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. Well, McIntyre showed up, hit Uso with a Claymore while the ref was distracted to give the Judgment Day an easy path to victory. He shook Rhea's hand afterwards. So, 3 things basically. Like buses, you wait 6 months and 2 new members of Judgment Day come along in one night. Adam Pearce has been shouting a lot more in recent weeks. I hope he watches his blood pressure. And please, for the love of God, new tag belts. We just don't need 2. Even Priest doesn't use them. I mean, Gina, there's nothing annoying than a disused title belt. Do you know what I mean? He's got enough in his hands. Why don't we just get the unified title?
Yeah, definitely get what you mean there. Like, again, we've had these double belts floating around for a while now. Why are you introducing more belts when we're trying to make the current belts that are still out stay relevant? And because half of the time they're not even involved in storylines, you know, a lot of the belts, and you're just like, well, it's just being wasted, really. And if they are, you know, changing hands, it's kind of just one of those off chances that it's changing hands, not making the belt relevant. So because the whole thing that makes belts feel of high importance is sort of the feud that's put into wanting to take those belts. Like, you want a really good feud to know that this belt is of that prestigious level, that these 2 people or these 2 factions are gunning for them, you know. So it does just make you feel exhausted, and you as a watcher and a fan, you feel exhausted by it, let alone how the general manager bloody feels.
Yeah, true. But again, how can there be general manager like a unified title? Do you know what I mean? Divide that and give the tag division on Raw, you know, a chance, or even SmackDown, you know, with like the Profits and stuff like that. But I don't know, I'll get over it.
Definitely. Like, they've got a shortage of tag teams. It's like the tag teams are there, nothing right now. So it makes sense that they would, you know, split them rather than keep them unified.
Who knows? SmackDown November 17th. Axiom made his SmackDown debut, losing to Jey. Profits beat the Brutes and Pretty Deadly. No boy. LA Knight beat Jimmy Uso. Solo went for the attack, but Cody saved him. Damage Control took the ring stronger than ever. They issued a challenge for War Games. Not usually a heel team does that, and stood tall as well. But Bianca Belair, Charlotte, and Shotzi revealed the 4th member, and that was Becky Lynch. A brawl broke out and chaos ensued. I'm a big Becky Lynch auntie, much, you know, as anybody, but we all knew that was going to happen. But Damage Control did the babyface thing here, didn't they? Issuing the challenge.
Yeah, it's kind of awkward. Well, like you said, not really what you're used to seeing, from at least from the issuing the challenge point of view. But it makes sense. I'm not really surprised, especially with them actually, because from the angle of Damage Control, they are the unit, while the baby faces are scrambling. They're like, well, Charlotte won't have a, you know, Charlotte ego's too big. No way she's gonna do this, make peace with Becky, or, you know, the other actual thorn and Damage Control side. But like you said, we seen this all coming. You know, I think they did try to be subtle, or at least they not really subtle, but they tried to hint like it could have been someone else. But I mean, we all kind of, come on now. I think by the time they exposed it, everyone had an idea of who Charlotte was gonna have to call. But yeah, man. Again, I don't mind it sometimes. I guess, especially if we're going to be doing 2 of these every year. I don't know if that's going to be the new tradition. It seems like that is, especially if we're going to be doing them more often. Then I guess it's fine for them to mix up how they, you know, work to get there. And like I said, in the lines of this story, it makes sense for Damage Control to feel confident enough to be like, no, we challenge you guys. Y'all, you know, you guys find a partner and all of that. So yeah.
Well, we move on to Raw, November 20th, the go-home show, and opened with Drew McIntyre in the ring. The crowd was booing, but he said everyone was going to listen to him. He said anyone who's turned their back on him was never a fan in the first place. See, guys, and he don't give a damn. He only cares about the fans that stick with him. See, you all fucked now. This is like Noah and the Ark all over again. I'm sticking with Drew, and I'm in the right here, I tell you. He ridiculed
Just compare him to Noah.
What? Did I? Don't know. He ridiculed Jey Uso for never apologising for the people who screwed over us in the bloodline. He spoke about everything he had sacrificed for his family and how Jay's family took the biggest moment away from him when he was able to perform in front of his family in Europe. The cunt. He said he isn't joining Judgment Day, but Ray Ripley giving him the chance to get Jay inside the cage. He's going to take it. This brought Jay out to respond. There was a bit of a back and forth. Adam Pearce, again, losing his shit. Said he didn't want anybody fighting. He told that the one member from Babyface and one member from the Hill team was face to get the advantage. And, of course, Drew beat Jay in the main event to get the advantage with the Future Shock with so much ease. It was lush. There was also something about Randy Orton being the fifth man, but I didn't really listen. But what was more impressive, I think, and Jaxie, I don't know what you think about this, a staggering 27 women were featured on the episode of Raw across various matches, segments, and video packages, with Lynch beating Zara in a better place, a better match than expected. I mean, it's worrying how many women there actually are, but it's great to see them actually showcased, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, this was something that I took note of as well, and Gina and I also discussed, just kind of noticing that there was a lot of feature backstage and in the ring for all women. It was really lovely to see, to be honest, and this is something we need more of. I don't want to make a big deal about it because it feels like you jinx it and then like you don't see half of these women for a while, but it's exciting to see from a point of view where you think, could they be looking to do more with these women? And if so, which direction are we going with them? There's a lot of women that there's question to in terms of like what stories they could be potentially involved in. A perfect example of that is like we're seeing a lot of like Shayna and Zoe together at the moment. So are we thinking about a potential tag team between them? And to be honest, I really would love to see Shayna have her singles run in that dominating way that she came across when she was in Elimination Chamber. We discuss that all the time. However, if we don't have any space for that yet, I'm kind of intrigued to see a Zoe and Shayna team up. I think they could make an excellent tag team. So it's just like these sort of little thoughts that you could start playing around with the amount of women that you're seeing on screen. So it's just nice to see and nice to kind of think about future content.
Yeah, we're at shadow of a doubt. And then SmackDown finally November 24th. Belair, Charlotte, Shotzi and Lynch started SmackDown and Bayley interrupted alone. Of course, a sign of things to come, maybe. Ripley accompanied Balor and Priest with the defended tag titles against the Profits. We see Austin Theory dressed as KO on the Grayson Waller effect. Santos attacked Carlito, with Dragon Lee taking his place at Survivor Series. It was great hearing the Legado theme again, not going to lie. Pretty Deadly beat the Brutes. Yes, boy. In the main event, Bayley and Oscar defeated Flair and Lynch, thanks to Flair being a dick. So, Gina, what were your thoughts on the last SmackDown? There weren't really much to go, really, was there? Much to do?
No, there wasn't really a defining moment of the episode. It was kind of like a bit more of an episode rather than, it didn't really feel like a go-home show,
I mean, what were your thoughts on Carlito being injured and not being able to take on Santos?
I was actually going to ask you what your thoughts are on that. Is that just a work that they just didn't want Carlito to have to lose to Santos, but they also realized that Santos is on a bit of a high right now, so they kind of needed him to win. This is how I see it, because I was like, it didn't look to me within that match that like Carlito was for real hurt. Like it looked more like a work hurt, which is fine, but part of me was like, well, why though? Did you just not want Carlito to lose to Santos, so you're replacing him? That's my thought and my take from it.
I think they did. Yeah, that was it. And then they can save Carlito and Santos for Rumble with turn, then can't they, or something? You know.
I guess, yeah, but it's just a little bit like sometimes you can read through the lines and already see what storyline is coming this way ahead of time. But I'm not too mad at it because I think this is really working for Santos, and I think Santos actually deserves a push. So if it's going to help in his favor, then cool. But I also just felt a little bit, mean for the cleanup guy, basically. So
Yeah,
that's
but
how I can see not even going to get referenced anymore. They're just going to be known as the cleanup.
no, without a doubt. So that was it, Raw and SmackDown leading up to Survivor Series. So I guess we are ready. November 25th, Survivor Series 2023. What about way to kick off? Then with kickoff, Kayla Braxton, Booker T, way back, Jackie Redmond, Pete Rosenberg, freezing their asses off outside, but fuck them, they get paid enough. Byron Saxon interviewed Santos, who said he delivered justice by attacking Carlito, and he has the will to do what it takes. Greg Miller joined the panel and wasted my time. So on with the show. And what I found quite weird, and Monty, again, you're going to accuse me of being old, right? But having a Flair and a Rhodes in a War Games match means that some things never change in wrestling, you know? No matter how many years go by, still having that after all this time is crazy.
At its core, I mean, wrestling in a lot of ways is definitely a family business, man. I think that's another way to look at it too. Just like you said, the lineage, or just how many people have passed wrestling on to their children, and even in the wrestling business, it goes that way. So it's kind of funny when you think about it. But like you said, the more things change, the more they say the same.
Well, we get the standard opening, War Pigs again, and we are in Chicago, and they spared no expense on the lowering of the War Games cage. Not since prime WCW have we seen fireworks like that. War Games then, to start us off, Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch and Shotzi versus Bayley, Asuka, Kairi Sane and Io Sky. The rules, well, quickly, it's like the Chamber, but with two teams. You can't win till everybody's in. Done. Face has got the advantage thanks to a packet of crisps, or as Monty calls them, chips. The heels entered wearing different masks, creating a cool visual. Dakota Kai interfered, allowing Bayley to gain the upper hand on Lynch before Shotzi joined the match to give the babyfaces the advantage. Speaking about having the advantage, doesn't really make sense in a match like this, but it doesn't matter. Belair whipped the life out of Sky with a braid, causing the champion to let out a blood-curdling scream. Monty, you know as much as I. Io Sky and a trash can. I will take this every day of the week. It will forever be awesome. She is so. It's that smile she does when she jumps. It means she enjoys doing it. You know. I love it.
Yeah, and I love the crowd kind of egging it on, being behind her, and the creativity too. The chain with the trash can. You let Dakota Kai kind of get it up there to her. Like, just I love it. I love the creativity because I feel like once EO is in a match like this, all of the people who've been watching her from the beginning are just looking for her to do something crazy. So it was a nice callback.
We've got the EO assisted insane elbow. Jackson, you've got to admit Charlotte's moonsault off the top was impressive. Lynch and Flair.
No, instantly I went, of course she's got to try and match something that EO did. Of course this bitch can't let someone else shine. So yeah, no, I wasn't. I was impressed, yes, because like that is absolutely terrifying to even think about going from the top there. But of course she did.
What about when they hug? Well, when they hugged mid-ring, I bet you were loving it. You were thinking, yes, we're getting along.
Like my eyes could not roll any further to the back of my head.
Cool spot alert. Asuka tried to miss Shotzi for the second time, but the ballsy badass ducked and Belair sprayed the Empress Smile with a fire extinguisher. Bayley repeatedly saved a match for her team, breaking up pins and going the distance. The first competitor to enter on the hillside. Ultimately, she was battered and beaten enough that Belair could down her with the KOD, and Lynch could add a manhandle slam through a table for the win. So, Jaxie starts off. What were your thoughts on this matchup?
I mean, this was this is how you start a war games. This was so impressive. I just absolutely loved every moment, every spot of it. I commend every single woman in that match. You've got to give you got to give Bailey a bit of credit here, because she took multiple spots for her team. That kind of looked pretty brutal. So yeah, fair play to Bailey on this one. This was definitely one of my favorites of the night.
Yeah, I think about. I mean, Gina, what were your thoughts? It started off so hot, and EO and Trash Can equals ratings, and this was her 5th game. So you can tell how comfortable she was.
Yeah, for sure. You could tell she was comfortable and that she trusted each and every woman in that ring. To be fair, the match did not go how I thought it was going to go. I actually thought that Damage Control were going to be a little bit more dominating, but Bailey would be the fuck up of them. But to be honest, it was the other way round. Bailey actually got a lot of them out of some horrible situations. She protected them quite a lot and took some hits for each of them. And so that's something that I do think will possibly play into a later storyline or argument, maybe. Them all saying, Bailey, you don't do anything to help Damage Control. And then she's going to be a bit like Jey Uso, Exhibit A, War Games. Every time one of you were about to get hit, I pushed you out the way, So I could definitely see something like that coming out from this War Games match. But it was still awesome, and Io's just like she is, she's just shines when she's in the sky.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, as soon as they hugged in the ring, we were done. By the way, prediction wise, but Monty, it was a great way to start the show. I mean, how cool is Kari? Let alone Io. These two, man, it's just brilliant.
Yeah, I've seen some people on Twitter not happy because I think Kyrie hasn't necessarily won anything, but it's a long game here with Kyrie. I mean, one, we're just happy to have her back at this point, and two, you don't have to win everything in wrestling. It's not always about winning and losing all the time. Sometimes it's just about where we're going, the story, the destination, how we get there. And I think we all can kind of see that Kyrie, Io, Oscar, or Dakota included, even Bailey, Damage Control as a whole, they're telling a story right now. And the thing is, you're 100% right, James. It wasn't even just a hug. We were screwed. We were screwed in general because we're betting against 3 people that they never, like three of the most legit. Like, I'm thinking back on it, I'm like, who the hell did I think was gonna get pinned? Shotzi, and they were gonna brag on that. No offense to Shotzi, but I just feel like now looking back, like, you can't say you thought Becky was gonna get pinned. Charlotte not gonna lose easily. Bianca, do you expect her to get pinned? So it's just like, I guess we should have seen it coming, but we also thought about last year and how Damage Control still couldn't get it done. So it's just kind of funny when you think about how it's turned out for them. But I do think I'm very intrigued in the story they're telling. The way they did it this time is very, very good. Even if Damage Control does not come out looking like the dominant faction, like you mentioned with the Bloodline, Judgment Day, we have dominant factions. So, and maybe this is the beginning of their dominance, just maybe in a different incarnation. And I think that's what it feels like we're heading. And I just want to see what happens because Bailey, just think about Bailey's arc in general in her career. When she was hugging everyone, she had all the friends in the world. But the only time she actually got successful was when she started to tell everyone to screw off and do her own thing, other than Sasha, who isn't here. So again,
Bailey to ever change.
Right. No one really wants that to change. I don't think it has to, personality-wise. I think in this case, she's being done wrong. So people are going to eventually get behind her because she's kind of getting usurped out of her own group, even though she gave Damage Control the blueprint to how to make it on the main roster. So I think it's really interesting what WWE what story they decide to tell going into the Royal Rumble, going into Mania. And, of course, all the people who are hearing about Mercedes being a free agent, and I heard Rocky Romero said about her and how they would love to have her back, but no one has her under contract. So that means now those theories can get to coming out. And how can we wrap this story up with a bow other than having Sasha come be the one to pick her up? I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm not trying to get everyone so antsy or excited. I'm just saying.
I'll lose my fucking shit, Marty.
Right? Like, think about how perfect that would be. Right. Think about how perfect that would be. That would be perfect. But again, I'm just throwing things out there. But this storyline has the potential to be very, very awesome for the women's division going forward, and particularly awesome for someone, in my opinion, who I think even Corey kind of mentioned it. For some regard, I don't understand the reason, because if you really know anything about wrestling, you understand she's just as essential as the other three. Maybe it's because she doesn't have the flash or the gimmick, but the 4 horsewomen wouldn't be like, they need all 4 of them for very different reasons. And Bayley is that glue. She's been the glue when you talk about her connection to Charlotte, her connection to Becky, her connection to Sasha, whether it's enemies or teammates. Bayley is just as important, and I think this story, if they do it in the right way, could be a big deal for Bayley going forward and her arc, and so she can finally get the respect. Because for some reason, out of all the 4 horsewomen, she's the only one that don't feel like top star, and it's basically because she has to always take second fiddle to them. So I can't wait to see what happens now that it feels like she can be the focus. Now, I could be wrong, and they wrap this up with Charlotte winning another title or something we've seen before with Becky. Right, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like something we've seen before. But honestly, I feel like they play their cards right, they can do something really special. And it'll give Asuka, Kyrie, Io something to do and actually feel like it means something, not just trotting them out there for nothing. But you're 100% right, James. I'm just excited to see Kyrie. I feel honored to see her again in this setting. And now she's with not only Asuka, someone who was a friend and a mentor, but Io, who's like literally was her best friend, and just next, like they came 2 peas in a pod fresh out of Star in Japan, or just working their way up to be where they are now. So I can't wait to see what else they can do, and I'm just excited. Even with Dakota being like a mouthpiece for Damage Control.
Yeah, because it makes all the sense in the world, Dakota being a mouthpiece, and again to just prove the point about Bayley. This WNR podcast wouldn't have gone for that long if it wasn't for Bayley and Sasha Banks in Brooklyn.
Right.
You know, it was literally 3 months into doing the pod. So when that happened, that was history. And again, it's weird because you think like Mae Young Classic, you know, CWC, stuff that gets through the years. 2018, Enzo Amore firing. You know, all these things that you have put out of certain things you do remember. But, you know, what a great matchup this was. Jaxie, what would you score this out of 5?
Jake,
and gone.
I was actually going to add on to everything that yourself and Monty just said. I completely 100% agree with. And also just to add on, when you go back to some of I think some of the earlier pods of where I was featured on NXT pods, and when Dakota Kai was back then, I actually disliked Dakota a lot. I didn't think she was sort of good on mic. I didn't really kind of like sort of her character or the way she came across. And, you know, kind of to see her progression, she's come a long way. And not only that, but I actually feel more comfortable to say, I agree with the statement of like her being sort of seen as the mouthpiece for Damage Control right now, rather than any of the others. And I think that that's a lot of like kind of what she's done to kind of get to where she is, and the progression she's had, that I actually feel comfortable with that, considering I actually looked at the pairing of Paige back when she was in WWE, being the mouthpiece for the Kabuki Warriors and not finding any form of connection, you know, between the two to really sort of understand why they were together. She was the mouthpiece for them. But with Dakota, like, there's no question about it. It just kind of feels real, you know? So I just wanted to add that. But I have given this a 5-star match. This, like Monty just kind of rightly, everything he just said is the reason why I'm giving this a 5-star. I'm intrigued to see where things go from here. And I'm emotionally invested in this. As I said, kind of like with the storylines that came out of investing in the bloodline, this is kind of what we're getting with Damage Control with Bayley. You know, there's so many different stories at play here that I'm intrigued for what's to come next.
Yeah, I mean, without doubt. Monty, what would you score out of 5?
Yeah, like I said, this is a really good way to start the show. I gave it 4 1/4, I think, overall, as a War Games match. It was really, really good. Basically, the way you do a War Games match, in my opinion. I think this is a great little barometer for them to follow if going forward. And like I mentioned earlier, there's so many great storytelling avenues you can try to explore if they do it in the right way and they take their time with the Damage Control situation, whether it's a split or whatever they're going to try to do with it. I think, honestly, they have a chance here to do something special. So, yeah, man, four and a quarter is what I would give it overall, though. It was a great match.
Yeah, no, good stuff. Gina?
I'll keep it short and sweet, but I totally agree with everything that was just said. I actually gave it I was going to say I give it 4 3/4, but to be honest, I think I'm going to give it a 5-star.
Yeah, no, I'm going to give it a 5 star as well. Like, just to start the show, and it flew like the War Games match. My only complaint is sometimes it feels a bit long, and for me, this kind of flew by. So I was kind of more than happy to kind of get with it and think, yeah, that's a great way to start the show as well. So we'll move on to the predictions. And of course, this is the final WWE predictions of the year. So after Full Gear, bonus league with 4 bonus points left. Monty's on 16. I'm on 15. Gina on 14. Jaxie on 11. AEW with 1 AEW show left. Jaxie and James are on 4. Monty and Gina on 3. And at this moment in time in WWE, with 1 WWE event left, Gina is on 6, guaranteed league win. I'm on 5. Monty's on 4, and Jaxie is on 1. And of course, we've got NXT Deadline and World's End. Could James do it then? Would Gina keep the win? We'll find out. We all went damage control. Oh, whoops. So all on 0 then. Pretty Deadly agreed. Crisps. Yes, boy. R-Truth is back. Jey Uso and Sami Zayn met up backstage for a lap revealed Randy Orton is yet to arrive at the arena. Cue CM Punk chants. Like that's ever going to happen. Intercontinental title match, The Miz versus Gunther. And I tell you something, Gunther will never underestimate The Miz again. The ring general found himself in a fight against a scrappy, resilient veteran. The Miz dug into his bag of tricks and broke out a Bret Hart-inspired 4 around the post. The Miz pulled a turnbuckle pad off, booted Gunther in the knee, and followed it with a low blow before delivering a skull-crushing finale for a very close 2 count. The crowd actually thought it might happen. And then there was a ugly top rope splash for Gunther, but he recovered to execute a Boston Crab to make The Miz tap out. Gina, I mean, The Miz and Gunther are so different, but I think this match worked because of it.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. I actually enjoyed this match a lot more than I thought I was going to. I don't know what I actually expected. I didn't expect any tomfoolery, but I did expect maybe, there might be some sort of scare that the Miz might actually do this, and there was. That's what they gave us, when he did the heel dick kick move or sort of arm up. We definitely thought, wait, is this how he's going to lose it? But thankfully Gunther just showed that he would persevere even through that kind of pain, just to make sure this reign continues.
Yeah, but I couldn't believe Michael Cole mentioned Chris Jericho. I was like, oh, he mentioned Jericho. Shit.
In a way, I'm not surprised, because I do feel like in some ways WWE hate Jericho a bit less than others that they've let go in the past, So I'm kind of not surprised by that. But yeah, it was still a little bit of a shock to hear that come from Michael Cole's mouth.
Monty, I mean, I've always liked Miz, but I think the thing is people like booing him. I mean, I'm sure he's no doubt got respect to fans, but Miz is just very dislikable. There's nothing wrong with that,
No, I think his bank account would tell you that too. That there's nothing wrong with it. He's made a career out of it, a long lasting career. It's a skill. It's not easy to do. It's not easy to just do it naturally. And he's not only is he a natural heel with it. He's good. He's actually really good at it. And I think the thing is, at some point in your career, you're gonna have to get respect for all the work you put in. After a while, I think a lot of those people who really hated The Miz early in his career for like whatever it was, reality TV, whatever reason they hated him, now everywhere you turn, it's a reality TV show. We literally have promotions like AEW who had their own backstage reality TV show. You know what I'm saying? Or like WWE Network over the years telling the story, letting cameras backstage with WWE 24 and all that type of stuff. So it's just like the business in general has changed around the Miz to the point to where now I think a lot of people are realizing that no, he deserves a lot of respect for not only still being around, but for being so talented and kind of being ahead of his time when you think about how he became a wrestler. Because there's a lot of internet or just people that didn't come up through, paying your dues, losing on the indies and all of that type of stuff. Even though he worked there, even though it wasn't the same, because everybody knew he was the Miz from the real world or whatever. So like you said, I've been a big fan of Miz forever. But I've also been a guy in the past that I always felt kind of like what I said about Max, which Max has proven me wrong also. It's just like some guys don't ever have to be a babyface. So I think in this situation, he doesn't have to be, but it's cool to see that he has this in his, repertoire. Like he has a whole entire comeback ready to be a babyface. And he's in an awesome space now to where he doesn't have to be. We know that he's been so dastardly over the years that we cheer when he did kick Gunther. Because, it makes sense. It's who he is. We know who the Miz is. And I think that's what I like about this match too the most about it, is that it did nothing out of the ordinary that you would expect happen, in my opinion, when it comes to if you know anything about these two talents. But the fact that I believe that, and they still had that crowd in a place like Chicago. If you tell me in 2014 would the Miz be loved in a place like Chicago at any way, shape, or form? Probably not. I guarantee it. But now, and what everything he's done, and the willingness he has now to do different things in the ring, not just do the exact same thing he's been doing for years. I have nothing. I have to take a hat off to the Miz. I'm with you. He's always been great at that. But to me, for him to be able to do this and get those people to believe, because I think all of us came into this match already not only knowing Gunther would win it, but just like, how in the hell are you guys going to compel me to believe Miz can do it? And I saw two legitimate times, if you're going off the crowd and just the anticipation of the match, it was two legitimate moments where people was like, oh my God, he's going to beat Gunther. And that's amazing when you think about how many people the Miz have lost to.
But that's true, actually, to get the crowd to believe that. But again, like Monty's mentioned, low, Jaxie, is Gunther. The thing is, will he be Intercontinental Champion when he wins the world title? Will we see him just relinquish the Intercontinental title, or will someone beat him? Because the role he's on at the moment, I'm just not sure anymore.
Yeah, definitely, I have to agree with everything that Monty said with regards to the Miz. Like, I don't ever feel like the Miz needs to change, and I think that, like, with his choice to do sort of like the low blow, like that, is his character, and I don't think he needs to change. Like, he doesn't always need to be like 100% the villain, but he could still be a dick, and I think it works perfectly for him. So, like, yeah, this match, it definitely had its ups and downs of, oh, will he, won't he? And that's something that you still want, especially as Monty rightly pointed out, considering how much of a loss he's also taken, over the years. So, yeah, like, if you really want to actually cement like Gunther as a prominent, like, amazing wrestler, the only way is up for him, and the best way to do that is potentially to have him relinquish the belt, and move on to sort of bigger things. I certainly did not expect or think that the Miz was going to sort of be the one to dethrone Gunther, and I think with the current roster we are, with the current roster we're currently featuring, I don't see where there's competition for us to really believe that Gunther could lose it to anyone. And I feel like if we want to continue on this hype that he's having right now, that is the best way forward. But whether they'll do that, it still could be seen as a risk play by WWE. So whether or not they're willing to, try to do that, I'm not sure.
All right, so scores out of 5 then. Gina, what would you score this?
I mean, I was pleasantly surprised by how intrigued I was by this match and how it went on. So I'm actually going to give it a 4.5.
Monty, what about you?
Yeah, man, 3. I gave it 3 3/4. I thought it was really, really good. And like I said, the fact that they had the crowd on the feet, believing in the Miz. Yeah, man. I didn't think the crowd would destroy the match, but I definitely wasn't expecting that either. So, yeah.
Jaxie?
Yeah, I gave this a 4 3/4. I really did enjoy this match, and it was really kind of nice to kind of see sort of the Miz like sort of cheered for, but also like kind of everyone still kind of cheering for Gunther's win. So yeah.
I'll give it 4 1/4. Predictions. That's our first points as we all went Gunther all on one. Judgment Day seemed confident Randy wouldn't show. Dragon Lee versus Santos Escobar. At one point, Lee looked to have Escobar beaten with a set-up powerbomb, but the former face of the Legado del Fantasma kicked out. Moments later, he delivered a destroyer and added the Phantom fucking Driver for the win. It does make sense, but it still pisses me off. Monty, what were your thoughts on this match?
This was really cool. I think honestly, I had to taper back my expectations. I think I saw some other people mention this before too. That when you watch Santos and NXT and you've seen Dragon Lee all over the world, and you know what they're capable of given the amount of time, you probably expect a crazy insane type of match. And I think they're capable of it. But I thought this match was really, really smart if you're going off the story they're trying to tell. It kind of felt, and not to say this because I know those are like the most famous, Latin wrestlers ever, most pretty much. But like it felt to me kind of like that heel Eddie Guerrero, a new updated version of a heel Eddie Guerrero versus a Rey Mysterio of the past.
The ripping
A
off the
high
mask,
flyer.
Like,
Right.
when I
Yeah,
saw that,
when
I was
he
like,
did
man.
that. Yeah, I agree. I was like, yeah, that's giving me some heel Eddie Guerrero vibes right there, because that was the difference. Like Eddie could do all the high flying cool stuff, but he had that mean streak that just made him completely different from Ray. And Ray, on the other hand, had all the moves, the kids, and all that. And I think this has a chance if they can continue this. And when it comes to Santos and Dragon Lee, they have a chance to do stuff way better than this for the next few years in the future of WWE. So I kind of looked at it that way, but it was definitely really, really cool. Like I'm a fan of both of these guys, so kind of getting this match, it was like a treat that I wasn't expecting because again we was looking for Carlito to be in this spot at first. So again, I don't have any problem with it, but yeah, I also love him instead of being, basic and just saying Mexican Destroyer. I love the South of the Border Destroyer. I like that. It's a little long in the name, but I do like the difference instead of just, mixing up the years if that's what he's going to continue to use it. But yeah, man, this is cool. This is really cool.
Well, that's also crazy how long each spent in NXT. Like with Santos, he was there a long time.
A long time, yeah.
Dragon was like, what, a month? Like, Bron Breaker's looking on going, what the fuck, man? Like, what do I have to do?
They watched him wrestle for one good angle in NXT, and they were like, nope, let's get this guy on the roster now.
But like I said, I mean, it's an interesting matchup. And again, so I wanted in Gina. I bet you were heartbroken when you realised that, didn't you?
Yes and no.
What a bitch. What unbelievable. Jaxie, what were your thoughts on this matchup? There wasn't really much to say, really. I mean, you can start us off with a score if you want as well.
Oh, for Santos's match, yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, again, I agree with a lot of the points that Monty has pointed out. I've seen a lot more of Santos on NXT than I did Dragon Lee. But from what I've seen, sort of so far and then in this match, I have no doubt that, in a few years' time, these two will be very much shining and highlights of both Raw and SmackDown. It was a good match showcasing them, but I think there was a lot of speculation as to why Carlos was kind of like written out of this. So I don't think that there was any surprise that Santos picked up the win, but I think I think we've all agreed and rightly said that Santos like really should get this push right now and see what we could do with him. So overall, this match was good. This match for me was a 3.5. Like you said, there's not really much to say about it other than like this was a way to continue building on for Santos.
Yeah, Gina, score out of 5.
I'm gonna give it a 4. It was a good match, and it, like you guys said, it built Santos up. And I said earlier, I think he deserves to be pushed, and I think he could really, thrive as a heel in the company.
Yeah.
So it works.
Yeah, good for you.
So
good for, yeah, great.
Yeah, fuck you, James, you little bastard, man. Yeah, I'll give the match a 4 though.
Happy 500. Monty, what about you?
Yeah, 3.5 is probably where I put it. Also, again, solid stuff from both guys, and I think to piggyback off what was said earlier about the build, I think that kind of might be the thing that kind of made this match feel just a little bit like, oh, okay, this is the beginning of something, but we don't know what, because not only was we expecting Carlito to be in this spot, that's your heat. The heat is with the LWO members. Like, yeah, it sounds good that Dragon League looks up to Ray, but it's just also one of them things was like, okay, well, we kind of know how this is going to probably turn out. So, yeah. But, no, I thought it still did its job. It wasn't a waste of time at all. So, 3.5.
Yeah, I'll give it 3.5 as well. Predictions. Well, everyone Santos, apart from me. To be fair, I thought Carlito would come out and maybe distract him. No. So it means that I'm on 1. The rest are on 2. Well done, guys. That's great. Great stuff. Women's World Championship next. Zoe Stark versus Rhea Ripley. And Ripley's overconfidence was met with a challenge of a driven competitor looking to dethrone her, as Zoe Stark rose to the occasion and gave the Eradicate everything she could handle. The title holder ultimately countered the Z360 and delivered Riptide for continuing the best year of her career, a reign that has been utterly dominant even. Jaxie, what were your thoughts on this? Because we've seen a lot of Zoe Stark this year, but I think she's really showed out.
I mean, yeah, like I think with each match she's kind of growing. It's been really nice. I'm pretty sure I could see sort of aspects of Shayna in some of the counter moves that Zoe was sort of doing, sort of giving you that pause. Just what if? Not quite so much as what we were experiencing with Gunther and The Miz, where there were, like we said, like a couple of times where there was like, oh wow, could he actually win it? But there was sort of that question of what if Zoe could actually do that and actually do that upset of dethroning Rhea. So overall, I thought this was a good match, showcasing Zoe and where she's come from. Like we've seen her against Trish, and sort of that whole feud, and to kind of watch her grow from there to sort of a match like this. Yeah, like it was a sort of decently well put together match for not only Rhea but for Zoe. It was incredibly beneficial for Zoe. I think really put her on a lot of other people's radars that might not necessarily have really kind of taken the time to look at her before. So yeah.
I think we're at that, but one of the things, and Gina, I don't know about you, but it's going to be some threat to stop Ripley, because I just don't know who can come close at this moment in time.
I mean, yeah, even with the returning Nia Jax, I don't see her getting a win over Rhea. Like, I don't know who at this moment in time is hot enough to be able to take that belt from Rhea. And at this moment in time, I don't even think I want Rhea to lose it anyway. I would just prefer her to just keep running things, because she's the most entertaining thing on Raw at the moment, and her with the Judgment Day paired, it still works for me. So again, like my sister said, it was quite close. There were some points where I was like, oh, could Zoe actually pull off the ultimate upset? But I also would have thought that would have been the wrong move if they did do it. Not because Zoe doesn't deserve it, because I think she did showcase herself well. But I just think that right now, Rhea's so hot. You shouldn't be taking it off her right now. But I can't think who's going to do it.
Honestly, I don't. Roman Reigns as a wig, like I don't. Might not need a wig, just a shave. You know, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Either she hasn't debuted yet, or it's Becky Lynch. That's pretty much it. And even then, I wouldn't want Becky to do it. But I'm just
Now I
saying.
want Ripley to, like.
Yeah, I wouldn't want Becky to do it.
But I'm just saying, there's
offense
no
to
one
her.
else on Raw but Becky, and then either she hasn't debuted yet.
But isn't it
That's
weird?
it.
But isn't it weird? Exactly, and it's like even with stuff that's happened in the last like 3 or 4 years with us doing it together. Even if we said, yeah, the person to beat was like Julia Hart, you know, and then cut to like 2 years time, and you're fucking right. But again, like I said, we just don't know. You know, it's crazy. And Monty Ripley looked fantastic. Talked about Sherry Martel earlier. Chaps.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Woof woof.
Right?
You know what I'm saying?
Woof woof.
Woof,
Definitely
woof,
a woof
you know,
woof. Like, oh my
fine
goodness.
women.
Like,
Get in there. That's what I'm talking
yeah,
about.
it's objective. Stop it. Stop it.
Yeah,
Whoa,
that's
big
what we
fella.
want.
Whoa.
Yeah. I wish McIntyre wore chaps. Woof, woof. Yeah.
Respectfully. Respectfully. This is all for respect. As respectful as it can be. No. Besides that, she. By the way, they killed Judgment Day as a whole. Killed the look once I seen what they had to wear later too. I was like, oh, okay, I like it. I like everybody's represented. But you're right, Rhea Ripley, man, it's just something about her, man. Like it's like she has it. I think no one wants to define what it is, but I think we knew it a long time ago. But now that they finally got the look and the character and who she is and just how dominant she is, and I saw someone say that she's probably they want her to be so dominant that she's like China level dominant, and I'm like, hey, I mean, yeah, you could take like Rhea is literally the closest I've ever been to ever saying that I can see somebody wrestling guys and you wouldn't even get up, next to China, like you wouldn't even bat an eye.
Yeah, you don't see Rip. Again, I don't know how I can explain this. I don't see Ripley as like a man or a woman. She's an entity in herself.
Yeah, exactly. So, right. It's like they said with China, like ninth or
like China.
Yeah.
Like,
like
she was an attraction.
China, you're right.
Exactly.
Like
wink, wink.
she's just like China. Like I'm gonna call her the eighth wonder of the world.
And the thing is, for Ripley, what's more incredible? It's only going to get bigger with the Rumble coming up, and then the Chamber in her home country, and then WrestleMania. It's just like this is just the start of it for Rhea.
Right? It's insane. And then, like, when I think about how old she is too. She's still very like 26, 27.
From the Mae Young Classic to NXT UK champion, NXT champion. I mean, she's done, and the character work now is top. Yeah,
it's caught up with the physical stuff. Yeah, I agree. That's really what it is. And then, like you said, with Zoe too, I think Zoe is awesome too in the ring, and like I think that's like I think you guys mentioned it earlier. Other people who were outside of the NXT bubble and then get to see her all the time. I think me and you already kind of knew, James, that if everything go right, Zoe can go. What's up?
Was I dreaming, or she did hold the tag titles with Rio, didn't she? Or was that like a dream we had?
Right? It didn't last long at all, but she did win the tag titles. Yeah. Yes, before unfortunate injury. But yeah, you know how that go, man. I think that's the thing about it. It depends on how you feel. I don't mind seeing Rhea here, but at the same time, I would like to see another babyface or someone else being groomed or feeling like they even could. That's the only problem I have with WWE's dominant reign booking. When it comes to Gunther, I can't tell you who that babyface is. They're warming up for that. I mean, you can always say maybe. Like I saw somebody say Jey Uso, and I was like, really? I love Jey, but I don't know if I would even get him against Gunther. You know,
it's when they say,
I don't know.
I'm finishing my story. So whatever woman says that, we'll be like,
right.
Okay, we gotcha. Like,
I forgot. Liv Morgan is the only other person. Like, Liv Morgan has an angle with Rhea. I just don't know if I want her to beat Rhea.
No,
you know what I'm saying? She has an angle.
No.
I just don't know if I want her to beat her.
No,
So it's like
I mean, I don't have anything against Liv when I say this, but I kind of really don't want it to be
we're
Liv.
desperate.
That's the
We're
one.
running
I
out
mean,
of matches.
if I'm truly honest, I would kind of shake things up, and like if I had my way, I would be building
Charlotte.
Shayna up. Shayna up independently and move her across, and have her and Rhea feud. But like again, I would actually build that up slowly so that we can actually remember that Shayna is this formidable. People only need to go back to which Elimination Chamber was it? Was it 2018 or 2019 when it was? I don't know. But if you go back to that Shayna, then yeah, I could see her being the one to dethrone Rhea. But that's if they are willing to actually put in the time to rebuild up Shayna to what she was before.
Yeah,
you're either going to have to be dominant enough to beat her, or you're going to have to be a survivor. So it's going to have to be something
but also,
like that.
They've got the incentive to go with that with Shayna, considering she's come off of this win with Ronda, but right now she has been predominantly seen as sort of like a side character, even when it comes to sort of like when she was in the Fatal 4-Way for Raw and with Nia. So, like, if anything, what I would do is actually move Shayna to SmackDown and be kind of running through sort of like, the smaller sort of wrestlers, like the Shotzi's and stuff, to actually start building her up, and reminding us what she can do in the ring, to make us think maybe Rhea's got competition again,
Yeah, and a bit like you, Jaxie, I hope Charlotte does it. So scores out of 5.
That's who it is. How did I
fuck you, James?
Matter of fact, you need to get number 16.
Jaxie, give me a score out of 5. Give me a score.
This was a good match. I'll give it a 3.5. It, did what it needed to do.
3.5. Good. We've got Gina. Gina, fuck you. Give me a score. Yeah. I think that's the only thing I've come up with.
Fuck you, James. Yeah, no, I'm giving it a 3.5 as well. It did what it needed to do, but I also knew ultimately that Rhea wasn't going to lose it.
Fuck you, Monty. What's your score out of 5? This is great.
Charlotte Flair for champion. 3.75. Yeah. Charlotte Flair for champion.
Charlotte for life.
Woo!
For life.
Woo!
For life. Woo!
Woo!
Predictions, you're at Ripley. So I'm on 2, the rest are on 3. And the main event, men's War Games match. Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, Joe, Sami Zayn, and maybe Randy Orton versus Damian Priest, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, JD McDonough, and my man, Drew McIntyre. Big time tension early as Priest and McIntyre stared each other down, neither really trusting the other despite being on the same. Like we said, Randy wasn't there. Uso and McIntyre teed off on each other midway through the match, which was a logical spot that had fans red hot. We got Rhodes and a cowbell. Just feels appropriate. The babyface beat down Dominic Mysterio to an enormous pop from the fans. The Judgment Day, Drew McIntyre were in dominant position late in War Games, laying out Cody, Jay, Sammy, and Seth. Enter Randy Orton. Well, before that, should say, with the Money in the Bank briefcase to try and cash in, but was interrupted by music. The Orton reaction blew the roof off the All-State Arena. An RKO on JD from the cage. Now, I'm sorry, but I think Gravity beat JD or Randy Orton in this one, because JD just like flomped. But anyway, from there, the babyfaces fought their way back in the match, each delivering a signature offense for the American Nightmare, planted Damian Priest were a crossroad for the win. Victorious babyfaces stood tall and the arena greeted them win with the pop. We've got the copyright logo appeared on screen, but then old Triple H, like he did with DIY, Living Colour's cult of personality played over the PA system, and CM Punk will back onto WWE television as a wrestler for the first time in nearly a decade. The Chicago fans lost their shit. He didn't target anyone or get physically involved, but it made for an extraordinary cliffhanger to close out the night show. So, just a little bit to unpack there. So first we'll do the match. So Gina, first up, the War Games matchup. and the storyline, of course, with Randy Orton coming out as well. I thought this was fantastic.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it actually. Even from the moment it just started off with Seth just not even waiting and launching himself at Finn. I mean, I just thought that was so Seth, but I loved it. You know, it just got straight into the heat of the match. You could feel that animosity between almost every wrestler in the ring. Everyone was kind of tied to a storyline in some way. So they all kind of had this, you know, heat and anger towards each other. And it was just a really, really good War Games match. And like you said earlier about the female match, sometimes War Games feels like it can go on for too long. But I didn't feel that with this one either. I didn't feel that with neither on this Survivor Series match card. So it was just really enjoyable to watch. And poor fucking JD, you know, he was there to take the worst of it. Like, there's always one. Like, and when I say there's always one, I don't even mean that in wrestling, you know, because this takes me back to when I was, you know, a teenager in school, and all the boys that we used to hang out with and have in our year. There was always one fallout boy, bless him. Do you remember him, sis? I'm not going to say his last name, but his name was Zane. And bless him, he was just the one that took the brink of every joke from all the boys. You know, he was the one who got the football in the face whenever the boys played football in the field. It was just like, even though he was considered one of the popular guys, he was kind of like, you know, the mascot. So that's kind of how I saw JD in this match, the mascot, you know?
Well, like I said, it's a lot to unpack. Cody in his first War Games. Randy Orton, I don't think I've seen Randy Orton bigger when he came out.
I mean,
like
for him coming out, it's not like it was news that he was coming, because it was announced he was going to join. They did play with, is he going to turn up? Is he not? He was obviously going to turn up. He was always going to turn up for that paycheck.
Again, it was the story of the match building to the. It said that pop made even bigger because of it. You know.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, I'll admit, I still even got goosebumps when I saw him coming out. So it was just so nice to see, and you could see that even in Randy's face when he was coming out, that he was just living in that moment there and then of just hearing, you know, the house stadium just roar for him. So it was just great to see him come in the ring, and I liked the little teasers they did with, is he gonna RKO Jay? Is he not? You know, and then there was that moment where it looked like he possibly was going to, but then Jay ended up saving him by kicking, I can't remember who it was, but someone in the face, because they were about to hit Randy from behind. So it was nice to see that. And they're like, okay, so we might not get that RKO to Jay just yet then, because he just saved his ass. So, yeah, it was a feel good moment. And I am glad that the faces got the win, not just because I predicted it, but also because of that pop that Randy had. If he would have come out and then they lost, I would have felt like such a deflation in, you know, my excitement. So I would have just kind of felt all for nothing. But I'm not going to talk about the very last part. I'll wait for the others to talk about the War Games match before we go to that last part.
But again, I've got like thoughts and notes written down. You've just like ticked off 2 or 3 of them, so that's excellent. The only thing I would say is, Monty, we talked about this. Randy is clean shaven, so heels, you know, faces should look out when Orton is clean shaven. He's got history.
Yeah, man. We talk about his history, but like you mentioned, man, I don't think I heard reports that he had put on some weight, but you know, I think when you see it, you know, I think that first time seeing and watching him walk, this is when you realize that modern day wrestlers, and this is not me being one of those guys, I don't really care about how big guys are as much as some fans do. But man, you realize just how huge Randy is, don't you? Like, not only his height, like he's always been taller than a lot of the guys, but now that he put on some extra muscle too, it's just like, wow. And it put in perspective just how big guys used to be. Because when I was growing up, Randy was not necessarily one of the bigger guys, right?
Yeah,
exactly. He's considered small, so it's crazy when you look at him now and how he's just towering over the other wrestlers. But it was fantastic to see him. You know, I love the drama, even though I'm just like you. I figured Randy was gonna, of course, he's gonna show up. I doubt they promote the show the way they did. Even if the announcement Cody gave him kind of got cut off, if you was watching live like I was when he was announcing it, it was not he never said Randy's name, but yeah, it was obvious that he was talking about Randy. So, but I always thought I would have chuckled if like Ted DiBiase could have found a way out there. I know where he's at right now, but what if that would have been the pop? I just said it was a guy I shared my legacy with. I never said it was.
Yeah,
Randy.
no, he's in prison, so again,
exactly. Can't get Ted.
No,
Ted is not available
unless Samu comes out for like a.
Oh my god, I forgot about him.
But we talk about Orton getting the biggest reaction. Dom got the biggest heel reaction.
Yes.
Which again was very, very interesting.
Before he even got out the cage, he was getting booed.
Yeah, it worked out. And again, when the faces beat him up. But Jaxie, this is what I liked about this matchup. Was it didn't? I mean, yes, we had a table and maybe a few weapon shots, but it didn't rely on the weapons or everything. It was the story of the matchup that played up to the crescendo at the end.
Exactly. It was excellent storytelling. Exactly what both Monty and my sister said. Just to repeat, for me, as soon as we heard that music, which we all knew would hit at some point, he was just making a dramatic entrance. Instantly I was thinking, will he or won't he RKO Jay? And there were a few moments there where he did. It was excellent storytelling, and everyone involved just did so well at emphasizing, the stakes at play for both sides, So this was just great in itself. Like, both war games succeeded, in my opinion, on that night.
Yeah, without shadow of a doubt. So match-wise, then we get scores for the match. Gina, what would you score us that for?
You know what? I gave the other war games a 5, so I'm going to do the same with this one because it was just as fun to watch. So I'll just give them both 5s.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, Monty.
Yeah, I gave it 4. And, I gave it the same one I gave the girl 4 1/4. So yeah.
Jaxie.
Yeah, I gave this a 5 also.
Yeah, really, really good stuff. So predictions, we all went faces. So final scores: James on 3, Jaxie, Monty, Gina. What this means is that they all get a point. So annoyingly, Jaxie doesn't finish the year on just one WWE point. I mean, that is just so fucking annoying.
What a way to end the 500th episode with an epic win and at least one more notch on my belt for WWE. So I'm very pleased and gloating about this. And James, I'm so glad you lost.
Well, fuck you. So, yes, I did lose. Monty annoyingly finished on the same points as me now on 5. I don't know how. I smoked his ass most of the year, but Gina got the league win on 7 points. So congratulations, Gina. You knew you had the win, but you win it unabated.
Yay! This is news to me. I will take it.
Yeah, I'm glad you won.
Yeah, I can't.
No, he's not.
Really can't see.
No, I am. To be fair, I'd much rather have Gina win than the other two, right? And I'm being 100% honest there.
I 100% agree with that statement. I am so happy for you, sis. I really would. I'm very much happy. I would have been happy if Monty or Gina won this. I would have been extremely bitter if James won this. So, in my opinion, congrats, sis.
I don't think this is about Gina winning. I think it's more.
Yeah, this is Gina's time, by the way.
It's not Gina's time, Jaxie. And we're just taking shots. Don't be that old haggard loser in the corner, all right?
You started it.
Who did? I didn't start this.
Yeah, you actually did. And James, might I recall, you might want to go back over the past year of podcasts and where you've reminded me point blank and repeatedly how epically I'm failing within WWE.
Well, you
so
failed,
yes,
all right? It's
I
over.
definitely am very happy that you do not come out of the WWE prediction lead on top. Okay,
no, just second. Just second. But again, it's not about us. Congratulations, Gina. So there you go.
Well, thank you. I'll take it after you all just bitched and moaned because you were actually just more grateful at other people not getting it. So it's clear none of you saw me as a competition, and
Not
this
me.
means
Well, no,
next year
Jaxie
I'm
said you
going to
weren't
fuck you
competition.
all
I'm not.
up,
I
and
don't want to
you're
get
all going to
involved, but
fuck me.
yeah, Jaxie said that at the
I
start of the year.
James,
Yeah.
don't stir shit. Don't stir
I'm
shit,
not.
okay?
That's what he said.
And sis, I actually just said I'm genuinely happy for you, but I'm also happy at the fact that someone who's reminded me pointedly
Someone
for the
sounds
past
really
year
pissed
that
off.
I've
Not gonna
lost,
lie.
WWE did not also win.
Gina, I'm happy for you, even though Jaxie's not. All right, so I'll just put
Yeah,
that there.
sure. Okay, thank you.
There we go.
I'm the only one who genuinely showing some support. Good job,
I
G.
genuinely just believe
Good job.
Monty is the one with the less bitterness in his voice, so I'll take that. Thanks, Monty.
Yeah, it's only because he didn't lead on bonus. We'll wait to NXT, see what happens there. So, who knows?
Wow, you are really emotional about.
I'm not. I'm fine. God damn. Do you know what?
Is it because Drew lost or because you lost?
No, and I got to admit, in the first time in 8 years since doing the predictions, it's the first time I've ever lost the prediction league. You know, so it's the first time someone else.
That's why he's being so emotional, guys.
So
I apologize for it.
Yeah, fuck you guys.
He's not used to this.
So anyway, no, we'll move on. Let's talk about CM Punk. Gina, what do you think then? Because I mean, a lot of people have got an opinion. We're going to find out everybody's opinion. Start with you, Gina.
Wow, so many people lost their shit at this, and to be honest, I don't know why. Do you know what? I feel a little bit torn because I don't know. I don't know if he's just annoyed me too much, and I don't necessarily want to say like this. Everything that has happened is all his fault, you know. Like, I'm not saying that the whole issue with Jack Perry was all his fault. I'm not saying that even when he left the WWE it was all his fault. We were excited to see him come back to AEW, and it's not that I'm bitter he's gone back to WWE, but it's kind of like, mate, I think you need to take some time off or time away again, to be honest, because I feel a little bit irked seeing you again. It's just like, it seems like he seems like the WWE or the actual wrestling world's Karen. It seems wherever he goes, he makes a problem. And I don't know why, but it more left a bitter taste in my mouth because I also had heard that WWE had made some cuts again, but mainly to like production staff, like behind the scenes production staff, that they made the cuts. And an announcer on NXT, she got cut as well.
Yeah, Mackenzie Mitchell, she will be missed.
Mackenzie Mitchell, yeah, rip girl, but she'll move on to bigger and better things, hopefully. Yeah, but again, for me, in a way, part of me felt a little bit sorry for them because I slightly thought, well, did they get rid of these people because they have to make way for the paycheck that they just got to keep cashing out to CM Punk now, you know? And it's not even, you know, bitterness about that and the paycheck. It's more a case of, is he here to put younger stars over, or is he going to come here and cause problems again like he did in AEW? So it did leave a bit of a bitter taste in my mouth seeing him come back, because it also took away from Randy's return in my eyes. Like, if you were going to do it, you should have saved it where there wasn't somebody else coming back after a long break. If Randy was gone for like 1 or 2 months, then fine, fair enough. But he was gone for a long chunk of time. So for me, it took away from not only just Randy's return, it took away from the whole War Games match itself. And like, to be honest, I was completely thrown from CM Punk's return that I completely had forgotten about the whole War Games match that just took place minutes before. So yeah, that's how I feel. I feel a little bit torn from his from his return. I just hope he's going to be here and make some good, you know, good memories and good times for people rather than cause more dramas and Karen tantrums.
Right. So CM Punk has torn you. We know this. Monty, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, as someone who was very, very tired of just the name of CM Punk for a while, I was genuinely pleasantly surprised about this, and it was more so just because it was just cool to see it. It was just something I never really thought I would see, especially after the way he exited WWE. I just thought it'd be too much pride But again, also in the back of my mind, even when we were talking about it before the show, I was like, you know, every like when Brett came back or when Warrior, like you can just go down the list of all the people when it comes to WWE who left and who absolutely hated that place, and they all ended up returning. I always kind of had that in the back of my mind, so it was kind of cool to see. It was cool to see him in that environment. But I do understand what you guys are saying. But honestly, I had kind of been done with that once Tony got rid of him. I was just like, when it comes to AEW, that was the way the AEW story was told. And then, of course, no one is I thought once I found out all the details, then it's just like, oh, okay. Then it's so many people we can blame if we really wanted to get into it. Of course, Punk has to take responsibility for everything he took part in and what he did. But it's just not as simple as this guy was the problem and he couldn't do this, and that's it. And I feel like if it was that simple, maybe Triple H doesn't do this or anything. And I still heard that it was a lot of apprehensiveness about it when it comes to getting this done. But honestly, I still think it was a nice surprise. I think they could have ended the show fine. And yeah, the Chicago fans would have been mad, but I think the show would have still went on other than the chants, and it would have been fine. We didn't need the surprise. But seeing CM Punk there and actually experiencing it and seeing the crossover attention it got, not to say it didn't get major attention when he came back to wrestling in general, because it did, but I seen this everywhere.
This was on
once
BBC.
He returned to WWE.
This was on BBC
right.
News in the UK, like headline news, man. About a wrestler
Again, my
returning.
grandfather hates this stuff, and he's calling me, telling me, "Oh, you know your guy Punk back, that Punk back." He just loved saying that, letting me know that Punk back, and I'm just like, "Yeah, no, I seen it." So it just shows you like the avenues. Like I didn't really realize that it's people, and I'm not trying to say this to shit on AEW, but it was literal people who didn't know where the hell he had been talking about wrestling, just like, "Oh, he's back in WWE." So anyway, again, I thought it was an awesome moment. I'll never forget the moment, but I'm still waiting to see what they can do. And then I started thinking about the roster, and I thought if everybody plays ball, Punk does the right thing, if everybody worked together, because in this situation, I think we all know it's zero tolerance. Punk, you can't do nothing. You can't do anything. I feel like everybody knows that it's over. If Punk gets in any type of scuffle, he can get in a loud argument backstage, and he's probably going to be released on the spot.
Yeah.
Right. He's probably going to get fired on the spot. So, exactly. So, if everybody work and play ball the right way, and egos stay out of the picture, like we talked about earlier, they can do a lot of stuff. This immediately freshens up, in my opinion, Roman Reigns' contenders thing, because he has history with Paul before you even have to get to the history with Roman or the history with Seth, or the things that you can go into with the possibilities down the line. And Punk has always been good at being face or heel, so I can see him. Whether that means he's going to be challenging Cody at some point, or whether that means he could be challenging Roman, you can see it on both sides. So it's just like, you know what? I'm if everybody plays nice and everything goes the way it's supposed to go, this could be special. So I can't wait to see how it happens, how it turns out. But anything can happen. I also saw a lot of people saying this, James. This will be over. He'll be done. He'll be out of there in 4 months.
Yeah, I'm not getting my hopes up. I mean, like,
so we'll see.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. It reminds me a little bit of the Bray Wyatt return, and I know the Bray Wyatt thing had a horrible conclusion to it, but there was kind of so much hype on the debut that I've realised now, like you said, he could be gone by Rumble. Who knows?
It could be.
But again, before I get my, Jackson, what about you? Because again, I know you're more on the side of Gina than Monty.
Yeah, I kind of agree with both of their opinions on this, to be honest. And I feel, again, a little bit torn. I feel like there was like a little bit of me that was gutted with the overall performance we got of Punk in AEW, and feel like, we failed to get some potentially great matches between, some great wrestlers on the AEW roster against Punk. So I felt kind of gutted and cheated that we might not necessarily get to see more from Punk, and really kind of felt another form of gutted, thinking, is this how things end in terms of his sort of TV reign? You know, will he not like sort of like end things on a better note? So in a way, I'm kind of glad to see him on mainstream TV again, with potentially seeing some things tied up within WWE. But at the same time, yeah, I felt like this took away from not only Randy coming back, but also just sort of like the ending of War Games. Like, this had absolutely nothing to do with him. So I could see why they did it, but at the same time, they didn't really need to do it then. So.
But again, from my opinion, and again, I know I'm such a WB fucking mark, but to have that happen, especially with the stretch for Survivor Series to the Rumble being a couple of months, this kind of made me want to watch Raw the next day. You know, this kind of thing. I never thought CM Punk would be back in the WWE ring. Like, literally, the relationship with Triple. This is 9 years to the week of CM Punk's podcast with Colt Cabana. And if I listened to it this week, and the way Punk talks about Triple H is like, it would never, ever happen. And Triple H says later on, it's like lightning in a bottle to happen. So to have that,
right,
especially in Chicago, like, they are taking a chance. You know, like Monty, you mentioned, like Triple H is taking a chance. But to have a Punk come in who is motivated after this AEW run to be like, do you know what? Let's see what happens. I mean, again, it could end in injury, it could end in whatever. But like him, this is someone said the other day, and I forgot about it. We could get Punk versus Stone Cold Steve Austin now at WrestleMania. You know, we could get that matchup. Like, I completely forgot everything and just thought, this is a Punk who was in WWE 10 years ago and now has come back. Forget everything else, and let's just see how we get. And I know it might take away from Orton a little bit, but we're going to talk about Raw and SmackDown afterwards. And I think that's set out now where we're going to Rumble, if you know what I mean. And again, whether they do Punk and Rollins before Mania or leave it there, like, there's so many options that motivated CM Punk. And I think he is now back to go, you guys, you know, because why else would you do it? This is crazy. And even if it only lasts a month, at least we've got this return. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, the years of watching wrestling, especially on the podcast, it was the most shocking thing that I have ever seen. Well, no, tell a lie. No, we weren't doing a pod when Undertaker lost his streak. So that would have been, you know, but this is right up there.
Right.
So I don't know, man. It's just like mixed emotions, you know, it is mixed emotions to think. And again, how WWE presents someone. Punk coming back looks like a 10 times bigger star than he ever did in AEW. And is that because of WWE or
production value or what? Yeah, what is it? Yeah.
It's so weird. But I'm a Punk mark, as you know, and to come back to WWE.
Me too.
You know, it's just like, God damn, I thought I was over it. And then I'm going, look in my eyes. What do you see?
No, when that scratch happened, when the static, I was like, oh no, this is insane. They did it. I literally said that son of a bitch did it.
You know the gif of Leonardo DiCaprio when he's just clapping. I'm just like, God damn.
Right.
Like, well done, Trips.
What the hell?
Unbelievable. So anyway, talk about the show itself. We've got match of the night. So we've got match, rating, and MVP. So we do it all in. So Monty, start us off. What's your match of the night, your MVP, and your score out of 10?
Yeah, my favorite match of the night was the girls' War Games. You know, again, I thought that was a little bit better than the male one. Of course, barring like if you take out the surprise element of it, if you just look at what the matches were, I thought the girls had a little bit more, you know, to it. Even if they had the set pieces, while the guys kind of worked more on storytelling. So it just kind of like what you wanted. Like, did you like some of the stuff you saw? I thought there was some moments in the girls' match that was pretty classic. While the story of the men's match is classic in its own way. So yeah, I went with the girls' match. I thought they really killed it. They set a beautiful tone.
Yeah, who would be your MVP of the night?
Man, it's tough. It's tough after that to be like, who do you feel like gained the most, or who do you feel like showed out the most? Again, they I've heard it. I don't even know what the injury is at this point, but like when you return from an injury that they said was possibly career ending and all of that type of stuff, you get that pop. Even if the thing happened after it, was even bigger. I honestly don't think it changes anything. I'm gonna give this MVP to Randy Orton. I really was just happy to see him. It was just good to see him back and doing his thing. He's a guy who was constant for such a long time. So when he was gone, you don't really kind of like we do with Cena now. It's just hard to imagine these guys not being around. So when you try not to take them for granted anymore. And I feel like that's where I am at this stage with Randy. I'm like, let's enjoy whatever he has going on for the next few years, if it's that long.
Yeah, without a doubt. And what would you rate in that Survivor Series be, Monty? Last WWE show of the year.
I think it was a really, really good show. I think overall I'll give it 7.75 based on just like my overall enjoyment. Because most of the show I would say I had an idea would turn out the way it did. So I'm not gonna say it took away from it. It still ended up being a very, very fun show, and it did everything the way it was supposed to be done. But I would not say this was the best show of the year. They had some really good ones, earlier this year. But I really do think this is one of the strongest and stronger than their last one, right before this one. So yeah, I thought this was cool.
Yeah. Gina, what about you? So your match of the night, would it be the women's War Games?
Yeah, definitely the women's war games. Not saying that it was better than the man's, just like Monty said, there was just different things that worked for each war games match. But some of the stuff that went down in the women's match had me more, sort of saying holy shit. And I just enjoyed it a lot more, I think. So yeah, ladies match. Again, it's going to be hard. I'm going to cop out with my MVP. I'm going to give it to Randy for his return and him getting the win. It was nice to see him. And to be honest, when I first heard him come back, I was expecting him to do a return soon, but I didn't realize I had missed him or was as excited to see him as I was when he came out. So yeah, I'll give it to Randy.
And what would your score out of 10 be?
Overall the show was quite good. It wasn't that long. I enjoyed the matches that were on the card. So I'll give I'll give it an 8.5. I think it was all right.
Yeah. And Jaxie, what about you? What would your match be of the night?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it overall to the women's match. Kind of agree with everything that Monty and my sister said so for the same reasons. My MVP I'm going to give to EO because that trash can moment will not be leaving my memory anytime soon. And I think she really shone. So I'm going to give it to EO there. Overall, I'm going to give it an 8. I actually feel like both War Games matches succeeded my expectation. They worked really hard. Everything in between was just sort of like decent and good for what it was. So I think an overall 8 is a decent score to give it.
Yeah. No, for me, match on the night is women. MVP Orton. I'm going to give it a 9.25 because you had 2 great matches there, plus a shocking return made it worthwhile. We also had the press conference afterwards as well, with Triple H taking the stage, saying, of course, it's the highest grossing Survivor Series in history. Big return, which, of course, was our truth. But in all honesty, he said he was proud of Randy Orton coming back from surgery, and Punk's return was those lightning in a bottle moments. He said a lot of time has passed and they're different people. He's a different person, Punk's a different person, and WWE is a different company. And not many people knew about Punk's return apart from Levesque and Nick Khan. And also interestingly, he mentioned how Jade Cargill's been off TV through no fault of her own, but she was limited. So maybe shot there at AEW.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I wonder whose fault that is. And then Cody Rhodes took the stage as well, saying that if Punk can help where WWE's going, welcome aboard. He thinks his version is hungry. which again then he gets emotional about Randy Orton as well. Press conference is always worth checking out. There's no doubt about that. And then finally, Raw. And again, I hadn't wanted to watch Raw as much in years. It was crazy. Randy Orton started the show. His pose got a huge pop. He said he had unfinished business with the Bloodline. Judgment Day interrupted, leading to a match with Orton versus Dom, which Orton did win indeed. And also, we see Cody Rhodes declaring himself for the Royal Rumble, with Nakamura being providing a distraction and blowing mist in his face. So Cody Rhodes was the one Nakamura had been threatening in the video. We see Ivor and Bronson Reed meet for a fight, with big meaty men slapping meat, ending in a double count out. Seth Rollins said they started to chant CM Punk. He called Punk a hypocrite and said he didn't want to spend a single second talking about him. Well, not till Mania anyway. Drew McIntyre marched to the ring. He said it was Judgment Day for losing War Games, which it was. And Drew wanted a title shot, but originally revealed he's defending the title against Jey Uso next week, which led to the Scott hitting him with a headbutt and busting him open a little bit. I think people who wear kilts shouldn't wear underwear. That's the official line in Scotland, and my dad being Scottish knows that. So next time, Drew, no underwear. CM Punk promo. The first thing Punk said was that it looks like hell froze over. He did say, though, that he was back home. I mean, Jaxie, Punk has said a lot of things in his time. But, I mean, to have the gall to say he's back home,
that.
you know, like...
Yeah. I was just like, oh, shut up, Punk. You know, I'm sorry, but it's just, it's not something that I was really interested in hearing coming out of his mouth. So you couldn't help but warrant a eye roll from me. You know, I was kind of like, all right, hurry up, get over and done with whatever you want to say then, you know?
He should have said, I've not been in a professional wrestling ring since leaving WWE in 2014. Or
right, that would have been a nice.
Yeah,
but I don't think he can. I've done some research through the interwebs, and he couldn't do much of anything when it comes to referencing them. So I think that was the pettiness. That's the most petty he was legally allowed to be, was to say that WWE is home.
Well, he's not here to make friends. He's here to make money. You know, like that.
Right. That's how you act at home, huh, Jay?
And it's WWE also saying, like, it's a pipe bomb. Remember the pipe bomb? Like, everybody likes that. Like, best in the back, on the commentary, wherever you go. It'll be interesting times. Like you say, the next time we do a pod, he might not be part of WWE. That's how crazy CM Punk is. For SmackDown, Bayley didn't come out with damage control. She did like to try and help Kari in a match versus Belair, but it didn't work. Bobby Lashley beat a bruteless Butch. Logan Paul announced a US title tourney. Who does he think he is? Tony Khan? Kevin Owens is a favourite right now. Randy Orton was faced whether to sign a contract with a blue brand or head to the flagship show Raw. After getting his hands on Solo and Jimmy Uso with an assist by LA Knight, he chose SmackDown. He needed to drop General Manager Nick Aldis for the RKO and said to Roman Reigns, Daddy's back. Gina, can Randy Orton beat Roman Reigns for the title? I mean, that's where it looks like it's set for now.
Oh, like, I want to say yeah, but I don't believe it. Sorry, no. I think it's gonna be Cody or Jay in the end ultimately. So only because they kind of like would have been building to it from the COVID era with the storyline between Roman and Jay. So it would be so nice if Jay was the one to do it. And I can also see Roman being happy to drop it to a family member as well. But I also think that there's that underlining beef between Cody and Roman still. So I think it'll be a really good feud. And Randy is going to like give us some great stories and feuds with Roman over the next few weeks for this. And I think that he'll build like a lot of, backing behind him. So a lot of people will actually believe Randy can do it. But ultimately, I think Roman will still get the win and it'll be Cody or Jay to do it.
Yeah, you're right. McIntyre is the right choice. So then finally, I don't know. Everybody's saying McIntyre. Stop it. Finally, Len, the last thing we're going to talk about, Sunny. She has been a news story more often than not on this podcast, believe it or not. I'm sure all of you can remember a Sunny story. But unfortunately, her sentencing was November 27th, and prosecutors sought a maximum of 26 years in prison, arguing 6 repeated offences made her a danger to society. And you might know what she's done, but whilst drink driving, she accidentally, on purpose, killed someone. The defence team called 2 psychologists who examined her during her incarnation, with each discussing Sitch's history of mental health issues and abusive relationship. They believe her background of various diagnoses, which include alcohol dependency and bipolar disorders, made a lighter sentence appropriate. Sitch even offered a statement to the court in which she asked for another chance. The 50-year-old former pro wrestling valet covered much of the same ground as the defence, including how she never recovered from the death of her fiancé, fellow wrestler Chris Candido, in 2005. She apologised to the Leicester family who attended the hearing and said if she could bring him back, she probably would. She cited positive work was done in the past, working with Make-A-Wish, and she had worked to educate young people on the dangers of drinking and driving moving forward. The judge, after hearing that, sentenced her to 10 years for driving without a suspended licence according to an injury or death, and 7 years for DUI manslaughter to be served consecutively. Afterwards, she will remain in probation for 8 years. Her sentence includes 50 hours of community service, a $10,000 fine, and a permanent revocation of her licence. So Sunny is going away for a long time. Monty, I mean, it's a tragic way, you know, but at this point, it looks like Sunny was only going to go one way. Can others learn, a bit like Jackie Gader, of this problem, you know?
Yeah, that's what you hope. That's what you hope. You know, like a cautionary tale type of situation when it comes to that. And the crazy thing about it is in this court system, she got off lucky, man. When you think about her track record and all of that, like I know that many years in a prison or in a jail don't sound like luck. And I'm with you, but believe it or not, with her circumstances, it's other people would have gotten worse. So, but like I said, I'm with you. I hope that other wrestlers or other people in general, just you don't have to be wrestlers, don't have to be people. I've had family have alcohol problems or dependency and stuff like that. So, you know, I understand how this can turn or how bad or how hard these issues are to face. So, you know, when you think about that and then you just think about the life that she lived and like the choices that she made, you know, I hope that not only can she use the time in her particular situation to not only sober up and just make changes and be the positive role model about drinking and driving, but also, like you said, I hope it keeps other people that we know of, wrestlers, whoever it is, and it shows you the dangers because that's always the risk you take when you do stuff like that. And yeah, man, it's unfortunate though, because like that a career that it's funny. Sonny's story from my point of view as a child was pretty much complete as I was growing up. Like I remember her going in the Hall of Fame. It's just almost like ever since them calling her and finally putting her in the Hall of Fame. Every other year after that, it seemed like she was, doing better. Every other year after that, you hear worse. So, in some situations, jail is helpful because it keeps you, sober or away from certain things and stuff like that. So, maybe this would be one of them situations where she can actually rehabilitate. But, no one wants to do it in jail. So, I don't know. I just wish her the best. And like you said, I wish everyone the best in the future when it comes to handling these issues. Because I'm sympathetic, but at the same time, this is what she earned.
Well, this is the thing. And if you look at someone like Shawn Michaels, I mean, no connection to Sonny, of course, wink, wink. But look at what he went through with the correct support system. The people there, you can get through it, So, like I said, it is important to talk about. But man, we ended on that after starting with songs. Do you know what I mean? Like we have literally hit everything.
You love doing that, by the way. You love bumming everybody out, everybody out on the way out.
Remember that finishing with the Chris Benoit story once? That was the best. That was the best.
And you said his name.
Oh, great.
All right.
I'm sitting on the 5. Oh, my word.
Redacted.
Yeah, we got that. Well, that is it. And that'll be, like I said, it's come to an end. The episode, I mean. My God, I'm going to try and be more positive in a minute. But don't forget.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah, I know. It's end. It's the end, everybody. All right, 500. Don't forget, of course, all social media, Twitter at the WNR Podcast, WNR at WNR JR. You can find the entire WNR team on a Twitter banner. Monty, where people find and listen, subscribe, like, review, and all the other shit.
All right, like you said, at Monty Pod on Twitter, on X, or in your bio. You go there, click the link in my bio. You can connect to me any way you want to. We are working on. I'm brainstorming new ideas for my weekly podcast too. Will be back up and running. I'm not sure if I'm going to wait until January post Royal Rumble, or am I going to figure something out before the year here to wrap up this year. But yep, we have that coming. Just keep a lookout on my Twitter. So yeah,
we're at that. Jaxie, what about you?
You can find me on both Instagram and Twitter at Jaxie Scarlett.
And finally, Gina.
You can find me on both at Purple Pain.
Double also on Facebook, Instagram, across all Google platforms, and this email, the podcast at gmail.com, YouTube, love podcasts with all latest clips. Podcasts got the same time on YouTube as do SoundCloud on your phone. Also Spotify and iTunes, but you can download, subscribe, rate, and review there. So that is it. Our next episode is next weekend with NXT Update. Until then, I've been James Rowlands, and I was joined by the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. Now, Jaxie, I know we've thrown a lot of shit to each other, but I want you to know how I really feel about you, and I think I have.
Yeah? And how's that?
No, I think I have, through the way I've treated you this episode.
Yeah.
Fair,
I mean, feelings mutual, So yeah, we've done well. We've lasted this long, so let's just kind of leave it like that. But yeah, thank you for everyone for joining us on our 500th episode. It's been fun.
Yeah, and of course the mind of Monty. Now, Monty, I'm glad you stuck with the show after I declared my love for you about 2 hours ago.
Gotta let you down easy. Off air.
You'd be like, look here, chum. Buddy. Let's have a little.
Buddy old pal.
Buddy old pal. That's the problem, Monty. You're probably getting more English being with English people here. So you probably, people think when you get off the pod, people would be like, call blimey, governor. They'd be like, Monty, what are you talking like?
No, I scared my wife. I was like, I was gutted about something, and she was like, "What? What is that? What the hell is that?"
See,
no, I'm just.
That's what we want. And of course,
the English is rubbing off on me.
Yeah, and of course, the genius of Gina, the winner of the WWE Prediction League 2023. Congratulations, Gina.
Thank you very much. I like to see myself as an underdog, so I won it for all the other underdogs out there. I'll wear my crown with pride, and I've tipped it right back up, so it's no longer tilted to the side.
And people ask,
wow.
People ask what's next. Well, sharing horizons that are new to us, watching the signs along the way, talking it over, the 4 of us working together day by day together. And when the evening comes, we smile. So much of life ahead. We'll find a place where there's room to grow. And yes, we've only just begun. Thanks for listening, and bye.